What have we done with our lives?
That might be quiet. Well, not at the start.
This is the high point of life. This right here. You've reached the end.
Yeah, talking shit and making people listen to us don't get better than that. That's a good start to hogCAST, isn't it?
Sounds good to me.
That's where we're going to start, and I'm going to say bonjour, everyone.
Bonjour.
Bonjour.
Hey,
welcome back,
everybody.
Welcome back. We're all looking freaky fat. So I want to talk about John Wick 4 first. It's my channel, so that's what I'm going to do.
Good job.
Who wants to kick it off?
You can.
No, I want someone else to kick it off because I've done a review of it. So
Okay,
my adoring fans already know, I think.
Well, me and Liz had a date today. We went out on our date.
Yes.
When I watched John Wick.
We had a double date. So I managed to commandeer a human suit and got into the cinema, and we watched John Wick 4 and 65. And I must say, John Wick 4.
He went as Victoria Silvstedt. It was good for me.
Yeah, John Wick. I loved it, man. I loved it. I thought it was good. Aesthetically, it looks amazing. I can't believe Keanu Reeves is 58 years old. You can see he's slowing down a bit, but bloody hell, he's still doing all right. It was more elaborate than the other ones.
Oh, God, yes.
There was some funny moments that sort of took you out of it, where it just got a little bit too ridiculous.
Yes.
I'd like to have seen
as in
more of the damage.
The staircase.
Oh, that staircase, mate. So there's a bit where he's fighting up a staircase. There's a clip of it in the trailer, but he gets to the top and he basically gets kicked back down. But he gets kicked once and he falls down. He just keeps rolling. He just keeps going and going and going and going and going and going and going all the way to the bottom, and he has to fight his way back up again.
John Slinky.
Yeah, I was pissing myself
laughing at that bit. Of the Slinky in Ace Ventura 2.
Yeah.
It's right at the bottom, and it don't get to the bottom step, does it?
So it's a nice addition to the John Wick franchise.
Absolutely.
I would say it's on par with the first one, but for different reasons. So in terms of spectacle, it beats the first one, but where the first one was a bit more grounded, a bit more gritty, it's where this one lacked. And that's why the first one, I think, is a bit, maybe a notch above this one. But this is definitely the next best thing from the first one.
No, I agree. I agree.
I would like to have seen... So they introduced bulletproof suits.
That was funny.
So the suits that they've got...
They got them from Wakanda.
Are bulletproof, right?
You think they've
got so the suits they've got are bulletproof, but they changed the rules on these suits as and when it fits the story. So, for example, there's one bit where he's shooting, and he's close combat, but he's shooting them to sort of knock them back. And even though they got the bulletproof suit on, the impact of the bullets are still knocking them back. But then most of the time, he just holds his hand up to defend himself, and the bullets just bounce straight off of him. And I would like to have seen
ricochet.
I would like to have seen the amount of damage sustained, like the finale building up to where he's got to get to at the end of the film. It's a beautiful action set piece. Starts off in the street, goes into a car chase, then it goes through a building, then he gets to the staircase, and it's fucking awesome. But the amount of damage he sustains is zero. He gets hit by cars. He falls out of a roof, he falls out of a window onto a building.
Onto that camper.
He gets hit by about 7 cars, and he gets punched in the face a few times. Not even a graze on him. And then he gets to the staircase, and still there's not a graze on him. Whereas in John Wick 1, he gets stabbed, he gets beaten, his face is all bloody. Like by the end, when he gets to that staircase, to sustain the belief in him and make us really want to get behind him, he should be mashed up. He should be completely bashed up and his eyes swollen shut and all that sort of stuff. I think aesthetically it looked amazing. The set pieces were amazing. There were some nice funny moments. The film was satisfying and entertaining, but there was just a few moments where they just went a bit too ridiculous, which I'd rather they didn't do.
They've gone down the Hong Kong action movie route.
Absolutely.
Which is
Yen is the star of the show, by the way.
Yes. Oh yeah. It's just utter madness. Whereas the first film was a very pulpy noir B movie.
Well, the first one, as ridiculous as it was a little bit more believable.
Yeah,
this one was just that little bit. Like you said in your review, you have to suspend disbelief because it is
with any of this stuff. You've got
crazy action.
It's just what kind of size case of disbelief you leave at the door, isn't it? I mean, you have to leave at the door. Your brain as well.
The standout moment for me was when he's just had the car chase in Paris, and he goes into that building, and he's got those dragon breath bullets.
Yes,
and it goes to but they're awesome. So it goes to an aerial shot, and you literally follow this whole fight scene from an aerial shot, and it's amazing. I want those dragon breath bullets.
God's eye. That's called the God's eye.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Literally going room to room.
It was. I thoroughly enjoyed that set piece.
That was really good. Yeah.
That set piece was amazing.
The plot.
I think again for me, the one letdown was the hand-to-hand combat. Like in number 3, it just seemed very laboured and very slow. And I know he's getting old. I know the guy's dragging on, but it just like, the guy's getting punched and then he's standing there waiting to be hit. It's just like, okay. Oh, now he's going to throw me, so I've got to get in this position. And it just seemed there was
one bit. There was one bit I really noticed was when we had the nunchucks.
Yes.
So he had the nunchucks, and he just literally like drops to the floor, but he's still trying to do this cool spin with the nunchucks, and it's blatantly gone wrong. Then he just trips the guy up, and it's almost like they just improvised this bit of it. They both almost pause. Then he goes in for the final kill. But you can literally see that he must have messed it up or done something wrong, but they just carried on with it. But do you know what? Like I say, Donnie Yen was the star of the show. Skarsgård done a good bad guy. Everyone delivered. Everyone delivered. Everyone brought their A game. It's a cinema movie. You go there to be entertained.
That's it.
Action all the way through. I must admit, I did think that the action set pieces probably could have been cut down a little bit. They did drag on for a while. Another bit actually as well. Aesthetically, the choreography wise, and just the whole setup of it, the Osaka Continental fight scene, was another standout. You've got samurai swords, you've got big guys in bulletproof suits, you've got SWAT guys coming in, you got everything. You had old Donnie Yen eating his soup in the kitchen, hiding out.
In Hollywood, the biggest men in Hollywood in grey suits. They were massive, weren't they? How they? I mean, oh my gosh! The funny thing was, because it makes you laugh all the way through. Because the funny thing was, they don't just go down with one punch, do they? They're still there.
Oh yeah.
And the two sumo guys. Well, I thought, when they get done in, I thought, they could have had a spin-off film on their own, couldn't they? Getting in, you see the two sumos go up, and it was like, oh no, come on, I want to stay on top of someone.
I thoroughly enjoyed it. I walked out of there pumped. I was just like, yeah.
Actually, what we said was we need to do another short movie of just action stuff. Yeah.
Just playing around.
We need to bang our heads together and get a short movie knocked out.
Yeah, it's just, as far as you can take a Hong Kong action movie.
Was Donnie Yen, was he like a really active antagonist? He was antagonist, I'm guessing, yes.
He's the bad guy.
Yeah, so was he?
He was really cool.
How did he look? I love Donnie Yen. I'm a big follower.
Would you list him as the bad guy, or would you list him as the anti-bad guy?
He's John Wick's mate.
He's John Wick's mate, but he's also been tasked to kill John Wick.
Yeah. He is the protagonist of this film that they've hung the story on.
Yeah. Oh, nice. That's a good role.
Might be the marquee.
And he's a blind guy as well.
He's a blind guy? He's blind?
Yeah. Blind, yeah.
Wait, wasn't he blind in Star Wars?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, anyway, how did his actions look? Like, I want to know.
It was amazing. His fight scenes will stand out every single time.
It's typical Donnie Yen. Exactly what you'd expect.
Exactly
what you'd expect.
You know the echolocation that they're uses. So you've got these scenes, and obviously this is amped up to silliness levels, but it's the same way that Daredevil with echolocate or an animal. So what he's doing is he's tapping. He's got his blind stick, and there's scenes, but they was constructed so well.
Yeah.
Within the rules of this silly universe.
So he had
out the rules of the game
alarms
right from the beginning, and he kind of right at the beginning, he taps some glass with his cane, and then he's listening.
In the kitchen with the motion sensor doorbells.
Yeah,
that was good.
Funny.
Ding dong.
He's got these sticky motion sensors that go ding dong. So he's in this big kitchen in this hotel with this Osaka, what's it? And he's got these stickers, and you're thinking, what's he doing? And he's got these little, I don't know if you have them in the US, like they're called the Ring doorbell, the Amazon does.
Oh yeah, we've got them. Yeah, well, I've got one.
So yeah, we have as well. So he's got the sticky pad on the back, and he's just putting these little square, and he's in a kitchen, like one of the big, kitchen with all the chrome and all that, and it's all kicking off all around him. But we haven't been told, and he just, reaches into his jacket, plop, onto the wall, plop, onto a cupboard, and then he's in the corner with his cane and he's waiting. You're thinking, is it explosive? No. You see someone walk past the first one and it goes ding dong. Ding dong.
And he shoots
nice.
And then has he got a gun, guy?
Yes, he's shooting,
Nice.
What this is doing, as ridiculous as we're all agreeing this film, the three of us in this film, we're all agreeing how ridiculously like Liz just said, amped up to the max.
Massively.
But what it is doing is establishing his superpowers. It's establishing how the filmmakers expect us to believe he's going to make his way for a 2 hours and 2.5 hour film, blind, but a samurai, good with a gun, the main bad guy, etc., etc. They're setting out right from the beginning. Everyone's superpowers are set out. That's all you've got to do. And then be as stupid as you like, as long as you keep to them rules. Like he's tapping the cane on the glass, echolocation. He's got his. Actually, he doesn't use them anymore, does he?
No,
what's that? No, he only uses them in the kitchen scene.
Perhaps just setting up the fact that, if you really are a dope and you've never watched anything before in your life and you just sat there going, what's that? You're establishing that he's deaf and he needs these wassits or to tap the cane. So I think
I like what they did with Scott Adkins.
It was funny.
I like what they did with Scott Adkins.
Oh, no, Scott Adkins, yeah. Are you a fan? Do you know Scott Adkins used to?
No.
No? Oh, I thought you were a Yen fan. You might have heard of Scott Adkins because he's the one, he's an English guy who's done all the Hong Kong action, or he's kind of an export into the Hong Kong action movie genre.
Tell me some of them. Sometimes I'm not keyed into I mean, I'm a Donnie Yen fan. That's an exception to my usually not knowing any celebrity names.
Hitman is Donnie Yen's, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is it Button Man, Scott Adkins?
Button Man?
Is it Button Man? His film? No,
I've never heard of that.
You think it's Button Moon?
Danger Mouse. Danger Mouse.
He was in Expendables. He done. I can't remember what the name of the. He played a character called Boyega, Boyaka or something. He played a character.
Boyakasha.
Yeah. It's been a little while.
He's done a lot of stuff, and he always just appears as like the stunt action guy. He normally play a bad guy or the right hand man. But in this, he has a proper acting part. They put him in a fat suit, and he's just
that was ridiculous.
And he actually delivers as an actor, which is quite nice to see.
An action man, like Hong Kong action movie star, in a fat suit to play this, and then when the fight scenes are occur, you've got this big fat guy in the fat suit, and he's doing
acrobatics.
And all the high kicks and that. I mean, I say totally ridiculous. Just fun. That's fun all the way through for me.
When he landed on those stairs. Oh my God.
It's just fun all the way through. And they're in the middle of a nightclub and everyone's still dancing.
That was fun.
No one's taking any notice. No one's taking it. And the guys that make the John Wick films, they love, but so do I. I love a nightclub scene. I love a nightclub action scene. And they set one up. I think they've done one in every John Wick in 2, 3, and 4 now, haven't they?
Yes.
He always manages to end up in a nightclub. I don't think he does in the first one.
Yeah, first one.
He does end up in a nightclub in the first one because he goes to
And I still maintain the best nightclub action scene is the the Tom Cruise one, where he's older. What's that film where he's and the cabbie's taking him around.
Collateral.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I love that scene, and it was Andy McNabb on that as well. He was the stunt, one of the stunt coordinators.
Yeah.
And looks how he moves and uses the gun and works within a crowd to assassinate the Chinese mafia. Oh, I do love a nightclub action scene. Ever since Terminator.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Oh, Tech Noir.
Where it ends
Blade as well,
isn't it? I love it.
Blade as well.
Blade?
The vampire den, they're all dancing and the blood comes out.
Of course, yes, Blade. Yeah, yeah, one of the best setups for a film ever.
Yes,
in my mind.
But they're talking about future-wise now with John Wick. They're talking that John Wick 5 is back on the table. There's also a potential TV show based on the Continental.
Oh no, that'll be a disaster. That'll be awful.
But the one that has actually been greenlit and is going ahead is a spin-off called Ballerina.
Yeah.
Which is sort of established in John Wick Chapter 3 with his original family, and you've got the ballerina dancers. So it follows a ballerina assassin. It's Ana de Armas, and apparently Keanu Reeves is reprising his role as John Wick in a cameo in that as well.
Yeah, we don't care. Ana de Armas is the ballerina. We really don't care. You can put Keanu Reeves' name on it. Call it John Wick. Call it what you want.
But no, I mean, it's absolutely smashing the box office.
Yeah,
absolutely smashing the box office.
And have you not seen the news, like the feedback on it, where it's kind of they're looking into the demographics of who's making this a hit. Shock, surprise, horror. It's men. They're making these films
for men,
big hits, because they're dragging their girlfriend, or they might drag their wife, or they might drag their son if he's the age that is appropriate, blah blah, or maybe even not. Because I must admit, I used to drag Luke to watch films that weren't appropriate. Not like that. The one that picks up. You see him go like that. No, Tayters. I mean, like the stuff we're talking about. Not Ana de Armas style film.
No.
The action and the fantasy stuff. But yeah, he might be 12, and I'll get him into a 15 because he was like nearly as tall as me by that age anyway. So no one's.
Yeah.
I've lost my train of thought now. I'm thinking of Ana de Armas now. You do it every time, didn't you?
But no, it's smashed the box office.
Oh, male bums on seats. So you drag your girlfriend, or you drag your son or your daughters or whoever it is. But what they're saying is, and I don't know where this investigations and this feedback was done, but they're saying, like I say, shock, surprise, that the male of the species is the driver behind cinema going of certain genres. Of course, it's not the driver behind a rom-com, but when you think of sci-fi, and I know this, I'm generalising, by the way, and it isn't my research. Also, this is research that's been done along the back of John Wick 4 and a few other films, that is saying that when you, basically this research was saying, you've got to be stupid to ignore men.
I honestly think the only thing that's actually going to be
do a film for men, and you're all right. Do Bob properly. Don't have him cry. Don't do that. Don't have him want to hug his wife. Just have him shagging birds and smoking and drinking.
Or what we've had Maverick now, and now this.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. So you had Maverick last year, you got this year. The only thing that's going to beat John Wick this year is Mission Impossible 7.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that's going to beat it.
Yeah.
And Mario Brothers. I'm looking forward to that. I can't believe how much I'm looking forward to it.
I saw a trailer for that again, and I'd seen it the first time, and I watched it the second time because I was like, why does Hog think this is going to be good? But you know what? It looks better on second viewing. It does look better.
I just love that fact where that little penguin, they're all coming out, and you've got, what's his name, Bowser coming down, and these penguins come out. Do you yield? And he goes, no. And you've got all the snowballs, but you've got all the rousing music until you do the cutaway, and all you can see is the snowballs going. And then the other ones with Donkey Kong just bashing Mario round the head. Oh God, no! I'm well up for that. I think I might. I don't think Luke's going to be prepared to go with his dad to watch that. But I'm just wondering how I'm going to get away with watching that film on my own.
Yeah,
going into the cinema.
Leave your Mac at home.
With me long Mac.
Don't go in the van.
With Wicket. Onto
no tweets, no van, no Mac.
Just Wicket. Just Wicket. Just Wicket.
So, I think that's enough John Wick 4. Unless anyone's got anything to add. I think what are we saying? I don't think the transatlantic twat saw it, so
no, I'm gonna eventually end up seeing it because my brother watches all of them over at this house all the time, so I'm gonna see it.
I'm recommending it. I don't know about
absolutely.
Guys.
Yeah, I'd definitely recommend it.
As crazy and unbelievable as it is, it's awesome. It's a good watch.
It's mad as a bag of frogs.
Yeah.
Really is. And from frogs in a bag being mad.
Before we carry on, hang on. Before we carry, do you need me to get the ambulance on standby for this? Do we need? do we, just in case aneurysms ensuing?
Your gin and tonic, sir. Thank you, Wicket. Thank you. I'm ready. No, I'm over it.
Now, like us.
I'm over it. I've had my moment, my moment. They've let me out for this weekend. They took the straight jacket off.
But like I said, this surprises me that you can watch John Wick 4 and you can suspend disbelief and it's all fun and entertainment, but you go to a galaxy far, far away a long time ago and it's all out the window.
So you explain.
I don't understand how you can be so forgiving of something. Although it's fun and entertaining, I'm not saying that. But then with the Mando thing, you're sort of like, don't like it, stupid.
That's the word. It just can't keep to. It can't set up, and it doesn't. It doesn't set up any rules of the game that we've got to apply. When you can literally do anything and go anywhere, when you can travel to planets anywhere and get back in 5 minutes, it's infantile. It's not. You can't establish. How can I explain it? You set a set of rules where a man can put on a red, white, and blue suit and bounce a shield wherever he looks. And it will knock out 3 blokes and he'll run off. He'll have a quick chat with Black Widow about the Secretary and Accounts, and then he'll go and knock out a few more terrorists. That doesn't happen in real life. But it's done in a way, it is done in a way that establishes real life consequences for their actions. When you set up a galaxy far, far away, where you expect us to believe that a bag of sand with a plastic head can fly, they're all laughing because it ain't working. It ain't working. I'm sorry, it's not working. People, that's as near as I can get, Tayters, to explaining why something as silly as John Wick, that I enjoy. Hong Kong action movies for decades have been that stupid.
Yeah.
You look at The Raid.
Brilliant. Yeah.
Look at The Raid. And where people, like that Hong Kong movie where they're flapping their arms and they're getting ready to have a fight and they're going, like fucking chickens. We're in it because they've established a set of rules where these blokes can go and have a cool-looking fight and get cut on the arm with them knives and stuff. They should be bleeding out. You'd be going, ah, and the blood would be going just from one cut, wouldn't you? You'd be going, ah, no more, no, fuck off.
I think what Hog's trying to say, is that John Wick puts you into a story that you can believe,
and it's stupid.
And it's stupid, but it puts you into a story that you can believe. Whereas Mandalorian has got such bad storytelling at the present that it's taking you out of that belief. I think that's the key sort of point.
Actually, yeah, you've nailed it. It is bad storytelling.
It's the bad storytelling that's taking you out of that belief. Like,
so I have something to add to this when you're done, Lizard.
Yeah.
Oh,
go now.
Oh, okay. I didn't mean to interrupt you. All right. So in writing, this is what we call the rules of magic, and that's misleading. So what the rules of magic means is anything that does not exist in the normal world is magic. So in Harry Potter, it's actually magic. In science fiction, it's, pew pew lasers. In horror, it's that thing, zombies are walking around the earth. And in these John Wick movies, it's the ridiculous action. Let's see, like Fast and the Furious, when they do all those things that cars cannot ever actually do. So that all falls within the rules of magic, and you do need to establish that. And I think that's what we're talking about here. So a good movie establishes the rules of magic right away. And in John Wick, they established that we have these ridiculous things, and that's just common practice. So we talk about, Captain America tossing that shield. You need to establish that right away. And we accept that for this story world, that's normal. And then the problem is with Star Wars, especially The Mandalorian, they've established a more true to life rules of magic, and they don't stick to it. So we just fly everywhere. I mean, Amber and I did a review, and I complained about that one. In the first movie, they get in the ship, they spend time around the holo table playing chess and everything, right? We get a sense that it takes time to get somewhere. And in Mandalorian, he's just flitting everywhere. We have no idea how long that takes. Hopefully not too long, because that's a kind of a small ship. I mean, I can't imagine traveling for 20 hours without a pit stop, right? and right, I think that's where the problem is. Even though Mandalorian is in a galaxy far, far away with all the lightsabers and everything else, many of the other elements are considered to be closer to reality. And so when you're not sticking to that, then it stands out, and you can legitimately complain about it, whereas you can't legitimately complain about John Wick, which is much more fantastic and unbelievable.
I think Liz just nailed it, actually, and it's not backed up with decent storytelling. So I think you could forgive.
Yeah,
I think we all can, because all of this stuff that we know and love, a lot of it is Swiss cheese for plot holes.
Yeah,
but we love it so much. The villains are so convincing, the heroes are so lovable, and on and on and on. The side characters are wacky and wonderful, that we fall for it. It's only until you watch it for the 18th time that you think,
But it all comes back down to the writing. If the writing is good, it's going to make you believe in the world.
It's boring.
Right.
It's boring.
Well, the only problem in terms of time frame that I can see from Mandalorian, again, going from what was said, following on from Book of Boba Fett to what we've just started now with Mandalorian season 3, was that apparently that was what was it? It was 2 years. Yeah, it was 2 years. It didn't, again, from our perspective, that didn't look like 2 years. So from that point of view, I can see what you're saying. The time frame seems fleeting. They don't seem to be portraying the timeline correctly. As opposed for establishing rules, the problem is you're putting people in front of a show that have no idea of all the backstory. And that's where they have fallen off as well, which I do concede. For me, watching that show, having all that information of the backstory, it all makes perfect sense to me. No, for me, not for you, for me.
I've watched everything that you've watched. I've gone all the way through Clone Wars. I've gone all the way through Rebels. I've known all the backstory for everything. And with this, like, I enjoyed season 1. I've always said,
you're an arsehole.
Yeah, but I've said it. I've said it.
Controversial.
but I've said it before. When it comes to Mandalorian, I've always been in the middle between yourself and Hog. With this season in particular, it's dropped right off. I mean, season 2 I thoroughly enjoyed. Season 1 I enjoyed. Despite, and again, same with other things. I can always find something, and you can do with everything. But when you notice stuff on first viewing that takes you straight out of it, and you go, oh, come on. On the first viewing, that's a sign of bad writing. And Jon Favreau is a great director. He's a great producer, but he is a terrible writer. He's had too much control, and they've basically been making this show off the first draft. That's all they've been doing, is off the first draft, because you wouldn't be having these mistakes. Oh, our hero slipped in the water and fell, did he? Oh, okay, great. Yeah, that's a really good idea to sell your hero. and then the next.
I'm going to bathe in the waters.
He can't swim. He can't swim.
And then the next episode, but then the next episode, we're gonna have a really cool opener, a really cool ending, but we're gonna cut away to Coruscant and basically follow our sea story, which should have been peppered in throughout the whole show. Then we're gonna go into back into the planet again, where a pterodactyl comes down, takes a foundling, like a youngling, like a foundling guy, swallows him, and then he spits back out. And we're going to spend the whole time just getting back this kid just for the fun of it. And then we go into this episode, which is better than the last 2 weeks. It is a lot better than the last 2 weeks, but still, it's like, come on. Like, what are you guys giving us?
The only problem I've had with the last 2 episodes, in my opinion, again, just me, bit of lazy directing in certain parts. And it was just certain things that just, they don't, like I said, in this last episode, the city's getting bombed, everybody's evacuating, but nobody looks panicked. And they all just seem to be ambling around like they're out for a stroll, rather than running in fear because the thing behind them is bombing where they live.
And
the quality's gone down massively.
There's a lot of cool stuff in there. Episode 2.
Oh, yeah.
Cool. I like that spider creature in one of the episodes. So I'm going to keep talking about episode 2. There's a lot of cool shit in there. But
the ideas are great. Some of the execution isn't.
We've got, this is as generous as I'm going to get. But I was enjoying it. If you look at my review of episode 5 and I had the aneurysm.
Breathe, calm down.
And what it is, it should be, and we deserve better. We deserve better than this. Really, this is the pinnacle after nearly 50 years of creativity, of storytelling and books and comics and films. The tentpole of Star Wars, the best thing they can give us as fans. I've been a fan longer than you, Phil.
I know.
The best thing they can give me is Mandalorian, and that's the apostrophe. I had the apostrophe moment this week where I thought, this ain't fucking good enough. I'm going off. Sorry, Wick. Help me out, mate. Help me out. Honestly, it isn't. Honestly, it's not good enough. But Bad Batch, which we'll get onto
in a minute,
it is. But Mandalorian ain't, and they've spent a ton of money on this one. It's been their biggest budget. It's
dropped off. It's dropped off massive.
Star Wars in Dismal Minus. We haven't got no films. We've got fuck all else. This was supposed to be it.
Well, I mean, like I said, I'll judge it. I'll judge it for the series. Yes, we judge per episode. We look at the little bits we don't like. We look at things that don't make sense. But I will judge the whole series. I will watch all the series free, and I will judge the lot as a whole. I mean, what we're given in this last episode with the little Easter eggs moving forward, that's enough to keep me hanging on. Definitely, 100%.
I think a big problem is that, do you remember how good the first season was? The first season, people just loved it. And I thought it was slow storytelling for my taste, but I still recognized it as being true to the theme of what it was trying to do. it was very well done for what it was trying to do. This feels like too many heads are involved. And my brother-in-law came over yesterday and told me that that he heard it was either Dave Filoni or Jon Favreau, which one of them was supposed to write out Grogu. Like, there are things that are in the show that were not supposed to be there. He was going to pass off Grogu, and that would be the end. You would never see him again. And this was supposed to be following The Mandalorian with a slow progression of other things in the greater world happening throughout the story. But this has turned into a movie. This is a long movie, right? I mean, remember the first season was not that. It did have a slow progression moving in one direction, but it was episodic. Each episode was a little story on its own. This is like 3 stories in one in each episode, because you're telling one great big overarching story. And I think that it's broken that pattern, and that was a bad decision.
But the Grogu, sorry to interrupt.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
The Grogu thing, from what I remember reading back in Book of Boba Fett, he was meant to be written out in that. He wasn't meant to come back, and they had to bring him back because of certain people.
I heard that saying.
I think it's actually different. I think that this time, because of the success of the first 2 seasons, I think they've given Favreau free reign, and that's why the story's falling apart. They keep saying this is the way, but they keep saying this is the way. Well, they've totally lost their fucking way, haven't they? Like,
trust the process.
But it's like the end of the episode just didn't make no sense on episode 5. So Bo-Katan is now part of the Creed, and she's got a helmet on. She must keep a helmet on to be part of that Creed. And then she gets told to take her helmet off. And
I didn't get that.
And you can walk both ways. Well, how can you walk both ways? You either keep your helmet on or take your helmet off.
Yeah.
Who else wants to really sing now? Who else wants to really sing?
Right. So again, the way I view that
was it.
The way I view that is Bo-Katan is basically going to follow in the footsteps of her sister as a leader of Mandalore on the pacifist side, but still with her connections to Death Watch, because she was part of Death Watch.
And that's cool. But the show is The Mandalorian.
No, that's right.
Which Mandalorian can include everyone.
Yeah.
But our main character is Din Djarin.
Yeah.
Din Djarin has the Darksaber. And as we've said before, it should solely be focused on Din Djarin. It's become the Bo-Katan show. Yeah. And Din Djarin should be the one to unite Mandalore with the help of Bo-Katan. And as we've said before, because he's not a leader, he hands it over once he's done it all.
Yes, I agree with you on that.
He doesn't have to be the one who unites Mandalore, but it could still follow him. Like, I imagine that, because this is like medieval storytelling. You've got the princess, and she has to be the leader, but then he's like the warrior knight who's sort of the protector, and maybe in this case also the spiritual, not guide, but inspiration. You can still follow him in that role of not being the one, and it would still be interesting, but they're not doing that. Until you pointed it out, I was like, yeah, we haven't seen Din Djarin do much. I mean, he made this speech, but this is not his story. It's not. It's not focused.
Not not at the moment. And again, from where they're leading off with this, I think the story's going on another tangent. To introduce other characters from other IPs within Star Wars, but setting up the future, like other projects that are set to come out this year. Actually, the Ahsoka show being the main one.
And this is the thing as well. Like, Mandalorian is your tentpole thing. Okay, have cameos, have whatever you want, but you've got to have a story. It's almost like they've got this 8-episode order, and okay, episode 1's like a reintroduction to it. Episode 2 is so far the best episode, and then you've got episode 3 and 4, which, I mean, the pterodactyl thing was just stupid, but with episode 3, the main plot point of that, you could have just peppered that in. Really, we could have had 3 episodes. And it's almost like, because they've got to fill that 8-episode order. And yes, you've got to do some world building, but we know the world because it's Star Wars. Yeah. We know that world. We know that galaxy. So just meandering off and just doing side quests all the time. Let's get to the point of it. He's got the Darksaber. He's got his creed. He's been bathed in the baths of Mandalore. Let's start getting the Mandalorians together now, and let's crack on with that. And then you build in your other little bits running through each episode instead of just having an episode devoted to that, an episode devoted to this, because it slows the pacing down massively. And I just feel like they've got a beginning and an end, and they have no idea how to get from one to the other, and they're just sort of. And again, a lot of this could have been fixed in the edit. A lot of this could have been fixed in the edit to make more sense, to give it more grounded. Again, sounds like I'm hating on it. I am to a degree, because it's not as good as what it should be. But am I still going to watch it? Yes. Do I still like it? Yeah. But it's not as good as what it should be.
Did anybody catch the news?
The writing, the quality in writing has massively dropped off. This is verging on Book of Boba Fett level writing, and guess what? It's the same guy.
I would agree.
And it's the same guy, Jon Favreau.
And I think they've thought of the ending, a really cool ending, because I think like Tayters is right. It's going to lead to somewhere, and we're all going to go, "Oh my god!" But they haven't given us a decent run up to it.
Yeah.
Have they?
But what's the point of a good ending?
Process, you can think of a nice, have an idea, and you can't.
Well, what's the point of a good ending? What's the point of a good ending if you haven't had a good build up?
Yeah,
because by that point you don't care about the build up to that ending. Do you know what I mean? You don't care for the build up towards that ending. It's verging on Book of Boba Fett level writing. And guess what? Jon Favreau. And I love the guy, but he's not a writer. He needs to give up the writing duties on that show to get that show better.
And give it to who?
God knows, but they're literally just doing it off a first draft. They're literally just doing it off a first draft. Well, to be fair, give it to the Andor writer.
Okay,
Tony Gilroy, yeah.
Give it to Tony Gilroy. You have Favreau and Filoni giving them what the story they want in terms of overarching for the season, and then give it to Gilroy.
It's called collaboration.
Yeah.
Well, Filoni's the details man. Filoni knows the details. He's got all the details. He's an encyclopedia of everything Star Wars. So he's the man with the details. But did anybody catch the news?
Very far. It never goes very far.
I'm going. Bye.
Not a good story. It's all right having details. You love a cartoon being live action this week.
Yeah, we got Zeb. How good was that?
Details don't go anywhere. Don't get too monkeys about details unless you've got the fundamentals of a decent story. Then the little details in Netflix Daredevil, I'll probably notice 1,001 things that the rest of you lot didn't even notice.
More than likely.
I put them there to please us.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So, like,
it was a good story.
Take the end of this episode for an instance. Take the end of this episode when that guy's got the little droid thing scanning the inside of that ship and he sees that little bit of Beskar.
Yeah.
Now, my brain went one direction only. And I was talking to Liz earlier about this today. Where did you go with that? Where did you think that's leading?
I was thinking, how does he know that was Beskar armor? Why was he in the middle of nowhere? The X-Wing pilot. Why was he in the middle of nowhere?
So your brain went off the tangent as well.
Yeah, I was just thinking, this doesn't.
How come R5's got a little disposable droid that he can get rid of?
So an X-Wing fighter, we've gone. At least we're progressing from the walking and talking because now we've got drifting.
Yeah, drifting and sifting.
You got this X-Wing pilot drifting. I mean, he ain't even got his stereo on, has he? Listening to
instantly. I thought that was planted.
So that's. I think that was the. I think that's the point. I think they want everybody in that same mindset that they're setting up. That's a plant they're using, saying the Mandalorians have rescued to, and it very well may be that. But my brain didn't go that way. My brain went.
No, tell us where then. Where was it going?
Again, so with all the information we have, and with Zeb coming up in this episode specifically, you know, we've got another Rebels cast in this episode. He's joined the New Republic. In my mind, that tells me Sabine Wren has joined the New Republic, who is a Mandalorian, and she was on that ship protecting the guy, Moff Gideon, when it was attacked. And I do think this is an introduction to Sabine Wren and potentially Ahsoka.
Well, we know Sabine Wren is going to be live action in the Ahsoka show.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
As well as the rest of the Rebel cast. Yeah.
Ezra Bridger's been cast. Sabine Wren's been cast. I mean, I didn't know Steve Blum was coming into this to voice Zeb, which was good.
So are you saying that this entire season of The Mandalorian has been transitional? Yeah, it's basically, it's not really The Mandalorian. This is Ahsoka. Like it's
Ahsoka
like
0.5. Yeah.
Transitional season towards other show entirely.
And they're definitely pulling all that in. They're definitely pulling all that in.
And again, it's right? Filoni.
From a storytelling point of view, I'm not a writer, I'm not a storyteller, and I've said that a million times. But from a storytelling point of view, like you guys are saying, no, it's not right. From a fan perspective and picking up on all these little Easter eggs, like you did with Daredevil, I love it. I can't help it.
But I didn't love Daredevil for that.
It was Filoni.
No, Daredevil was awesome.
It was arse-kicking, powerful entertainment.
Yeah.
Those little bits were for me. Just for me. Just for me.
But you got to ask yourself this, Taters. Okay. So would you, after Ahsoka has come out,
yes,
and that's awesome, would you ever go back and watch this show?
Probably.
Oh, really? Okay.
I've lost count of the amount of times I've watched pretty much everything there is out there to watch.
Do you know what this feels like, though, this season? This season feels like, that, but it feels like that where Filoni
that's gone hard and dried out in the heat.
Where Filoni was so invested in and created Clone Wars along with George Lucas, but he only done Rebels. All the characters that were in that, Filoni had a major part in creating Ahsoka. He created most of the characters in Rebels, as far as I'm aware. So
he had a hand.
Yeah.
He is Ahsoka's daddy.
Yeah, so essentially, his focus now is on, now he's got Ahsoka in live action because he loves that character and it's the characters that he's had a hand in creating, as well as all the Rebels cast and like stuff that he's done with Bad Batch, etc. His sole focus and his passion project is Ahsoka. So his whole focus is on Ahsoka. Favreau's his sort of buddy and partner. All the focus is on Ahsoka coming up.
I think so.
And that's why this has got through to a level, because the writing standards has dropped right off on this season.
Yeah. I believe so. And the thing is, I'm hanging so much on Ahsoka delivering. It will be devastating if it doesn't. I'm hanging a lot on Ahsoka delivering what we want.
Coming for you.
The pressure.
Ain't any good.
I'm predicting a lot of disappointment simply because the pressure is so on at this point. I think The Mandalorian has been a disappointment to everybody this season. We're hungry for good Star Wars, and Ahsoka is so popular, so well loved. Yeah. I don't think people will be happy. It's going to feel like, it could have been better. It's just a prediction. That's not what I hope.
The Mandalorian.
No, I hope not. There's a lot riding on that show. There is a lot.
And the Mandalorian losing its way at this point.
This is not the way.
This is not the way.
See what you've done there, Liz. See what you've done.
But by doing it at this point, so we've had Book of Boba Fett, we've had Kenobi, that's alienated audiences. Then you get Andor, which kind of is that little glimmer of hope. Then, like you say, everyone's starved. Everyone's ready for Mando season 3, and then we get this. It should be so much better. We get this. It's not absolutely it's not as bad as Kenobi. It's not as bad as Book of Boba Fett. We've had some good moments. We've had some cool shit, but the quality of writing has majorly gone downhill, and the viewing figures are showing that as well. People have dropped off massively. The viewing figures are showing that. This is a critical blow to Star Wars at present,
and
because it needs to be better.
And in all fairness, just for a tiny bit of balance, I would say that although what they're saying about the viewing figures for Mandalorian's Series 3 and how they're comparing it to Book of Boba Fett and a load of other stuff, I've got to admit, I didn't think it was, I'm almost being like, I'm on their side now.
Be careful.
It isn't that bad, but what's happened is the rot has set in and people are saying, I can't be bothered. After Book of Boba Fett, and they've probably watched Kenobi, the first 2 series of Mandalorian, obviously, I think they did have a good base, I think, fans. From objectively, anywhere you look, those 2 series went down well.
The first season is being improved upon. Have you heard that news?
What?
I don't mean to interrupt you. They got a load more footage that was cut that they're remastering and bringing back and adding to.
Just see what they're doing there. Just see what they're doing. What the fuck? Like, but that built up the first 2 series, and I went back to series 2 before series 3 came out, because Andor and the comics that are the new comics that were coming out was now I'm a resurgent Star Wars fan. There's good stuff around. Right, fine. That's all I want.
Retract that, Hog. Retract that. What? You've always been a Star Wars fan, you're just not a Disney fan.
Yeah. That's a good clarification, to be fair. And I will always be a Star Wars. I can't not be a Star Wars fan, but definitely not Disney Minus fan, because they're spoiling it. The comics aren't spoiling it.
No, get the rights from the comics.
The books don't spoil it. Dismal Minus is spoiling it. They're getting it wrong. I'm sorry, but for me, they are. Andor seemed to get better. It just seemed to be. I tell you what. Do we all remember the Flash Gordon, Buster Crabbe, black and white serials? Saturday morning cinema. I know Randy's nodding. Flash Gordon, 1930s, 40s, whatever it was, black and white, a little spaceship on a piece of string that I would enjoy.
Up and down.
That's it. That's up and down. And fine. When I was 6 or 7, and George Lucas based his first film on the Flash Gordon serial and the comic book, and on and on and on. We all know the rest. He based the X-Wing and TIE fighters on World War II films, blah, blah, blah. Right. We know all of this. If I went to look back at a Flash Gordon black and white serial now, the world's moved on. We have the audience has developed. The audience, we've become more sophisticated. Dismal Minus, for me, I believe that my intelligence shut up, has moved on beyond. They cannot hold a model of a spaceship up on a string in front of the screen and make me believe that the Mandalorians, that Grogu is flying that ship to the next planet. Do you see where I'm going with this?
I see where you're going. Another point.
But what they're doing with this Mandalorian Series 3, it's gone backwards. With Andor, I was in it. Especially those prison scenes. I know it wasn't really Star Warsy, but at least I was immersed in it. I was thinking, oh my God. And I could see things coming, like when they kind of say, oh, don't put your feet on the floor when the red lights come on, because you'll get, and you think,
absolutely, yeah.
Somewhere. But that's fine. That's fine. Because 2 episodes later, someone just decides to commit suicide. You know what's going to happen? You're going to go, no, don't fall down onto the red light. But they've built that up nicely.
Yeah.
One major point of note, though.
This series of Mandalorian is different. And I'm fed up with Dismal. I was getting brought back through Andor. I got brought back, and I was ready for Mando 3. I watched series 2. I got into Bad Batch. This has let me down. And then it makes me think, you are going to keep letting me down. You just can't. You lot just can't do it. They can't.
We are coming to the end of the flurry of shit that Dismal are putting out, as you know.
I hope so. With that, I think we deserve better.
With all the news we've had this week, bearing
in mind, just quickly, bearing in mind,
got what they deserved with The Last of Us. I think they was well served. I think they was respected. Whether or not we all like it or all agree of different episodes and but The Last of Us, the fans of that game, from whence the whole idea come from to do a TV series, they got something respectful.
Well, bearing in mind that this week we had the last 2 episodes of Bad Batch, and Bad Batch has, bearing in mind it's an animated show, it had better storytelling. I was more immersed than Mando, which is your flagship.
Well, it has to have better storytelling because it is animation. So the process of animation takes so much more work to go from script to screen that they better have that script absolutely fine-tuned to the best it can possibly be, because you do not want to have people put hundreds of hours into putting a 30-second scene together that at the end they go, you know what, we're just going to cut this out.
That's a really good point, actually.
Mm-hmm.
That's a really, really.
I must say, I was thoroughly impressed with the Bad Batch. I watched it earlier on today.
Show, that's got better and better. Series 2 has ended exactly how I thought it would start, as a pardon the word rogue, but as a rogue unit of, you know, the Dirty Dozen in the Star Wars universe kind of shtick. It didn't start that way, but I've got to admit, throughout Series 2, it's
been a bumpy ride, but
it's got better.
Yeah,
it's got to a point, like from the beginning of Series 1 to the end of Series 2, I'm saying yay.
See, that often happens in animation. So I'm a huge fan of Japanese animation. Well, okay, no, I used to be a huge fan of Japanese animation. I haven't watched anything in like 10, 15 years, but
oh, you gave up.
Well, but what happened is it got easier and easier for them to make it, and so you were seeing more and more trash. But when it was difficult, it was really good. This was excellent storytelling, and it was concise because it had to be. And that it's sad that American animation isn't diving into some of the more interesting stories. You know, we still think of it as a lot for either silly grown-up, you know, Family Guy and The Simpsons kind of shows, or it's kids stuff. They don't try the grittier things. And then, you know, Avatar: The Last Airbender came around. You watch that show, season 1 is good, season 2 is fantastic, season 3 is like, I wish they had expanded this because it was so good, because it should have been bigger. It would have been great.
Did you see Arcane on Netflix?
I've heard about it, and it's on my, I was going to say it's on my TBR, to be read. It's on my TBW, to be watched. But I've heard it's very good.
Oh, Arcane was it. Nailed it.
And
that's where you get what you see in one episode. You think, fuck, I've got to switch on to Dismal for like 20 hours to get this much. Like the story.
Yeah.
Bang, 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 bang.
But like Amber said, it takes so long to get those animations made. They do sort of like, you know, dot all the I's, cross all the T's. Everything's got to be done properly.
Mm-hmm.
With what we get from Dismal lately, it's just, again, we're at the end of that flurry. It's just like we've had that quality goes out the window because they just want quantity.
And I don't know if you've noticed, but I definitely noticed in this last episode, it felt cheap. I felt like, okay, with the exception of the battle was great, but I just felt like, where was the budget in this? I thought this was supposed to be a super expensive show. And then I went, okay, it went into the fight scene, but where was the cast? How big was this town? How many Mandalorians are there in this little covert? Like it, and I felt like I was hearing not a laugh track, but a conversation track when they were in the cave having the discussion, like, what should we do? Should we go and help this poor planet? And you could hear whispering. And I'm like, who's whispering? There's like 15 guys.
But as well, based off that fight scene at the end, everyone should be trying to invest in an N1 starfighter at the moment. It's untouchable what Mando's got. It's untouchable. Like surely, like, we saw the Naboo starfighters in episode 1, and then you never really see him again, especially in the live action. And then he's retrofitted one. It's the best thing going. It beats the hell out of X-wings, beats the hell out of any TIE fighters and all that.
And it looks awesome.
It looks awesome.
It's like a chrome Corvette.
If I went up against Mando and I saw him in that, I'd be thinking, I need to get me one of those.
And everyone knows
straight away.
Like the old swamp thing, he knew it was a Mandalorian. He went,
yeah.
He went, that's a Mandalorian.
He's the only one with the N1 starfighter.
How did he know that? It was a blur.
He's the only one with
it was a blur. And it blew up the top of the ship. And he went, that's the Mandalorian. Blast him.
But I must say,
you won't get away this time.
But I must say, though, just quickly, if you want a better Star Wars, either watch the last 2 episodes of Bad Batch, or like current, or go into the comics. The comics are awesome at the moment. But yeah, the Bad Batch finale for me, the Bad Batch finale for me was a bit of Star Wars. It was some good set pieces. It had a good story to it. Left it on a cliffhanger as well. That's all I'm going to say. And there was a nice little heartfelt moment in it that was more adult, which was quite nice.
In the Bad Batch, yes.
Yeah.
Definitely. I've even warmed to that little Omega Aussie bird.
Yeah, it's definitely worth a viewing.
Team, I still laugh at her accent when she goes like, "Tick, where's Tick?" And I think, "Tick, where's the Tick? Oh, it's Tick."
Is she from New Zealand?
I don't know. I think she's from Australia, mate.
Oh, well, almost the same accent.
Yeah, almost the same. Yeah, it's like, well,
what's the Star Wars news you had?
She's part of the team now. I like the way it's progressed, and they've made her a part of the team. She's not just there as a little girl. You know, to get little girls to watch Star Wars, I don't know how that works because
little girls would watch the normal Star Wars. I wanted to be Luke Skywalker when I was a kid.
Exactly. Well, you don't put little boys in something to make little boys, like as a 10-year-old boy watching the original Star Wars, I didn't need to see a 10-year-old boy in it.
Yeah.
So this is where the logic falls down, why a little girl had to go anyway. She is part of the team. She's part of the... There's been a nice progression, and it has got better for me. It really has. And at the end of Series 2, properly hit a sweet spot with good storytelling, stakes being raised, lovely cliffhanger for Series 3. You're thinking, oh, yeah, I can't wait for Series 3 to start. All the things right there that, what a shame. What a shame with Mandalorian 3. Because I was for it. I was up for it.
What's the news you got, Tayters, this week? Star Wars? You said you had some
Star Wars, right. Has anybody else heard of Project Bluepoint? No?
Nope.
No one's there. Right. So my initial reaction to this news was fuck no.
Oh no.
I've got a bit more information and I'm actually looking forward to it. So they're gonna do an anthology series, right? Around the time the Battle of Yavin and through the Battle of Endor, right? Each episode is going to be from a very specific point of view, from a different squadron, from a different fighter pilot. There was talk of potentially Darth Vader's point of view after being blown out of the trench after the run. They are going to, this was the bit where I jumped. They're going to remake, they said frame for frame, the Battle of Yavin and the Battle of Endor, and it's all going to be led by Lucas.
Oh, what?
Yeah. They're not, and it has to be frame for frame as the original was, the original trench run and the original Battle of Endor. They are not changing it. They're just looking at it from a different point of view through this anthology series. Yeah, that's it.
I get it.
So, yeah, instead of following Luke Skywalker here, you're going to be up here looking down on Luke Skywalker doing something else. So
I kind of like that.
Woke up and realised you'd wet the bed.
No, I wish. No. But again, when I first heard the news and it was like they're remaking the trench run, it was like, no, don't remake the trench run. Don't remake the Battle of Endor. Although I thought you might be pleased with that, Og, if they remake the Battle of Endor. But anyway,
well, I will now. Now I've got friends and relatives. I mean, it's a bit of a subject for him, to be fair.
But it's now obviously more information has come out. It's actually looking like a positive. The fact that
it sounds interesting.
It's not a whole series. It's not like you're just following one person for all his. Each episode is its own story.
I'm going to predict that does well.
Yeah.
Is that live action or animated?
Live action.
Live action.
I think it's going to do well. I think it's going to be they're going to try and do several of those because they are dealing right now with oversaturation of the franchise. They've got too many series and they're trying to stretch out these big long stories, and that's why there's so much what feels like filler going on. But if you can do a short story, mini short stories like this, and get really creative with those, and you're dealing with a timeline that already exists and events that already exist, that gets different types of creative juices going. I think you're going to see something really good come out of this.
It's
a totally
I've got a concern. I've got a concern straight away.
Go on.
So if they're doing that, and say for example, does that mean we're going to get loads of, like what they did with Luke Skywalker in Mando, where they made him young and that they're doing the de-aging thing?
Well, no, because you're not going to be following Luke Skywalker.
But does that mean? But obviously, in order to see these events from different angles,
yes,
we're going to need to see certain things. So
yeah, but if you're flying a mile away from Luke Skywalker, you're not going to see him in the cockpit, are you?
It depends what story they tell, because
there is that. I don't have that information.
If they're heavily involved in some of the stories, say for example, you follow a pilot from Red Squadron, and then you're going to have a whole scene with him and Luke Skywalker, and then the guy goes off. Do you see what I mean? We could get that very flat performance with that weird voice that they.
The only time I could see that come in reality is if they followed someone like Biggs, you know, where he comes back down after the fight and he meets Luke and they congratulate each other and all that sort of business. I think that's the only time you're going to have any sort of interaction like that, if that sort of thing happens. I don't think it's going to be the main focus. Again, what I've got is a very loose lot of information. You know, it
sounds like the most intriguing thing, to be fair.
Again, this is what I said to you earlier. My initial reaction when I heard it was no. After actually listening and seeing what they were putting out and reading what they were putting out.
What percentage of that is rumour, though, Tayters?
As far as I know, Lucas is signed up for it.
Yeah, but according to who? Like, I'm not.
I will
saying, is this kind of wishful thinking, or is this actually
again with the information I've seen, with the information I've read, this is going ahead.
No,
I mean,
it's project around.
It's loosely. Sorry,
even Andor was good because it was over there on the side.
Yeah.
Rogue One good. It was just over there on the side.
Yeah. And I think that's where the viewpoint comes from.
And get some good writers in that haven't written any Star Wars. They appreciate it and they know what the fans. But that's where you need the showrunners. I know we've all spoken about this collectively before, that you've got to care. You can't just bring in someone like Mindy Kaling to write an anthology, can you? You can't. And I'm not even joking. Because they brought her in to crucify Scooby-Doo. So you bring in writers, but you bring in writers that might have written, I don't know, NCIS or X-Files back in. I can't think of a modern.
I mean, I can't believe I'm saying this. I think
bringing grown-ups to write a Star Wars story.
I can't believe I'm saying this. I think probably one of the best things they could do at present is to do like the Star Wars graphic novels doing at the moment. Everything's set between Empire and Return of the Jedi. Now, doing that in live action is going to be tricky because obviously you've got to de-age all your actors and you're going to get that fake AI sort of stuff. Do it animated. Base it off the graphic novels. Do it animated, and get the voice likenesses. And I think have a good quality of animation. I think that'd probably be the most intriguing thing next to what Tayters has just said that you could do with Star Wars at the moment, because it's in a time where people know and love instead of, you know, somewhere random.
I think the best thing is George Lucas take 1.5 billion of that 4 that Disney gave him and buy it back. But
not even that.
Maybe not even that. He might get away with it.
Give him $1 for it at the moment. And I ain't far off joking. There, just before we came on air tonight, the Nielsen ratings for Mandalorian, which I think is going to be a nail in their coffin for Dismal. Wall Street have got a lot to say about it.
Oh, really?
Wall Street are not reacting badly. And I know I've made a joke of when I've bought some shares.
Yeah.
I bought Netflix shares. When we come out of the pandemic, I bought Netflix shares and Disney shares. Not a lot. Listen, a few $100, right? Because they were rock bottom. And I thought, do you know what? I'm going to play this game. I'd watch Wolf of Wall Street. Like, I like
I'm an expert now.
The hog of Hounslow.
I can do this. I've got $300 and I'm not afraid to use it.
Jordan Hog.
I bought those shares low. All I was missing, no, I'm not going to go there actually.
I know exactly what he's about to say.
Robbie, at all.
Yeah, I know exactly.
And I'm not going to talk about having a night out trying to reach the phone. Ferrari where my legs ain't working. We don't go there. Back on track. They was rock bottom after the just shortly after the pandemic, blah blah. The Netflix shares have crept back up, nowhere near to the
where
they were. But I bought these 2 sets of shares rock bottom. Dismal has still continued down. I bought them at like $1.15. And I'm talking about nearly 2 years later, they're at 90 odd now and still going down.
So you should buy more. And if they keep going that way, you'll be the same.
I've already got rid of them. Where I've been moaning, I can't moan about it no more because I've taken a loss on it. I couldn't bear it no more.
Talking about the viewing figures.
No, what I'm saying is, so just quick, sorry, Tayters.
Oh, go on, mate.
Come on. We cannot really forget how much trouble that corporation is in at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
They are in a lot of trouble. We're talking about all new shows and they should do this, they should do that. They've got to cut $5.5 billion. They're laying off 7,000 people that don't deserve to be laid off. The money.
Well, the majority of them don't deserve to be laid off.
No. But the money that the people that are still there must be earning compared to, and I don't know how much Feige and Kennedy are on and earn through money and shares, but Zaslav on the other side.
I imagine they're doing all right.
Yeah, they're doing well all right.
Yeah.
Zaslav at Warner Brothers last year, he earned $39 million. The year before, just think about it. $39 million last year. The year before, $249 million in money and stock options at Warner Brothers. £250 million. Think about it. £250 million to one man at Warner Brothers. And he's doing the same thing as Disney are doing.
That'll take the sting out of being poor, wouldn't it?
We're not releasing Batgirl. What was that? Sorry, Tayters.
I said that'll take the sting out of being poor. 249 billion.
It would, wouldn't it? It would. It'll keep it going for a while, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Keep it going.
Yeah.
So how much money, my point being, why I've used Zaslav as an example, how much money is Kennedy and Feige and even Iger, at this point, Iger's the one that started all this off, so he's no saint. How much are those three earning? They're probably earning hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millions, but they're still laying people off. But $3 billion they've knocked off of just 1 year of content creation. That's why all the films are getting put back. They're getting pushed. Marvel's is getting shot. Indy,
but the problem is though, you get rid of some of the bigger ones. Yeah. Like your Kennedys, like your Feige's or something like that. You get rid of those. Who are you going to replace them with? Because sometimes it's the better devil.
Each film on its own merit.
Yeah.
Each film on its own merit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Moving forward, I agree with you.
I don't need an idiot at the moment. Just reboot just save all the money because they have got to reboot this corporation. They've really got to sit back and think, what the fuck do we do now?
I think they have to fall a little further, though. So Elon Musk said something a couple weeks ago that made a light bulb go off in my head. He's so right about this. Sucks for us poor people, but it's great for good entertainment and good products. So when a recession hits, it cuts back on waste at every level. So right now we are seeing Disney at its maximum waste production status, that this is everything that's it's too much stuff and it's all trash at this point, or all a little trash. Anything that's good is still a little trash. When they get to the point that they're financially hurting really bad, really, really bad, they'll have to cut back on stuff and it's going to be the shit.
Yeah.
That's what's going to disappear. So I'm thinking you've had how many people now disappear from Dismal Minus? Is it 3?
Yeah.
You've had Kathleen Kennedy.
It's what was her name? Victoria Alonso, Ike Perlmutter, who was Marvel. He was the Marvel guy until Feige and Iger sidelined him.
Yeah.
Before Endgame, there's some good time in there. And the third one is just the rumour mill at the moment. Oh no, the other one was
Alonso.
No, so it's Alonso, Perlmutter, and Alicia Schwartz.
Yes.
Okay.
Who was the senior vice president, and they're big scalps, but they're not.
But that's just what we've heard of.
Yeah.
But Alonso.
Oh, you won't hear the low level. You won't hear the low level.
I mean, how long have the rumors been going for Kennedy to go?
Well, no, the rumor's been building slowly over time, but it's Kennedy's. Like I said to you earlier, Liz, Kennedy is now the rumor is okay. Indy 5 is going to be her. That's her. The only way
Swan song
is if
Swan song
makes money. That makes money, and I believe the loose figure that I heard, whether it's true or not, that needs to make a minimum of 900 million.
900 million.
Nope.
Yes.
Not happening. Not happening in a million years.
Yeah.
No.
So the fact that it's for another extension.
Well, they're doing 8 weeks of reshoots.
And she doesn't matter. Down straight away.
But they're doing 8 weeks of reshoots. Think how much that adds on to the production.
Yeah, and she wanted more time. She wanted more time.
And but 8 weeks of reshoots is at that level is half your movie.
It's already out. The accounts are out, aren't they? Because it was a British company set up. It's a British limited company.
Yeah,
it's a production company behind it. Their accounts are stating that film's budget at the moment is 290 million.
Yeah.
Now there's obviously a few paydays in there.
God, you ain't kidding.
But that is still the budget for this film.
Well, because
let's call it 300 million.
Didn't Iger say he's sending around the auditors? They're going to audit Lucasfilm now, and the potential is Kathleen Kennedy might not last until August.
If you're going to sweep the ball clean, if Iger was going to come back and do it, he's kind of making.
It had to be Iger. He couldn't. Chapek couldn't have done it.
I still think they're going to scale it back. Everything's because they have to.
Yeah.
And I think they're going to do even cheaper, shittier films with the same. I'm serious. They're going to do cheaper shit films.
Right, we need to put our pitches in, don't we?
But it's not going to be CGI. It's not going to be full of CGI and all the effects and all that. They're going to be. Let's see how near I am, because I won't be 100% correct. They are going to keep. They're doubling down on the track they're on. They're doubling down on it.
Okay,
There's no declaration that they are going to change their tactics. Zaslav at Warner Brothers has said, we're not doing this crap anymore. All right, let's see where we've got to give James Gunn a chance. He's going to make it marvelly quippy.
Yeah.
But let's see if it works. Because
okay, so the Oscars, right? What was the big winner for that?
Everything, Everywhere, All at Once.
Yeah, it's got a really long title. So the cost for that, if I remember right, was like about 35 million. It was not a high budget. I mean, compared to what we're used to, right? And it made money. I mean, they made its money back, and it was a successful movie. So with that winning so many Oscars, that has to propel the industry forward to say, look, that's what we need to do. We need to be reasonable. You know, a 15 to 30, 35,000, $1 million movie, we can make that money back because as people are going to the theaters and everything else, we can make a profit on that. We talked about this on hogCAST a few weeks back. That's just a model that everyone's going to have to go to or they're going to fail.
Well, look at John Wick. It was made for the reported figures was 100 million. John Wick 4 was made. It's already grossed at the box office 158 million, and it's only it's been out for a week.
Yeah. So and 100 sounds like a lot, but compared to a lot of the movies we're talking about, that's
low level.
Third, a quarter of what they.
100. I still think 100 million is still a lot of money for the films.
Yeah.
I know it's on effects and stuff. And sometimes you think, well, how much did the star of the show get? Sometimes out of that 100 million, they'll have got 20. And you think, really?
Yeah. That's what's bloated the budget.
They've got to attach the face to the poster. to sell the film. If we're going to think in old-fashioned terms of, which I think we are moving back towards, by the way, we are moving back to the cinema-going public, putting bums on seats, with a face on the poster, with a film star. With a film star.
That's what it needs to be.
Animated, you want the voices. You want the voice. You want the stars voicing the characters. That is, you want Jack Black doing Kung Fu Panda.
Yeah.
End of. You want what's his name doing Gru in the
Emperor's New Groove.
Yeah. Whatever it is. Whatever it is. Which I know it sounds old fashioned, but that it earns money. It makes money, and put them in front of cameras doing the interviews, doing the sofa surfing. 2 weeks before the film comes out. Don't bang on about your fucking pronoun. Don't bang on about your childhood. Tell me how good your... I'm going to stop swearing. Tell me how good your film is. Tell me why I should go and see it, you lot. Tell me why I've got to pay my money out. And if it's good, I'm going to buy a T-shirt, an action figure, a poster. I'm going to... All the shit that comes along with it, that earns the corporation that owns the rights to it money. It's all been lost. It's all gone due to the arrogance of the people at the top that think they can shit on us, and it hasn't worked.
Well, I think, though, that you don't need to have... So I'm waiting for this to happen. I think this is going to be the next stage in film promotion. Because they used to...
Write this down. Speak slowly, Amber.
Okay. No, like what...
This one.
What you're saying, having these stars sit in couches and do interviews, whatever like that.
Yeah.
I think that YouTube is the answer. I think that you're going to get stars guest appearing in like forums like this, where you're going to have a celebrity with a popular YouTube influencer, you know, somebody like Stuckman who reviews movies, and he's had early access to the movie and got to see it. And now he gets to interview the actress or the director or somebody. People will go see movies like that. I don't watch anything that's on television to find out if a movie is good. Right. But I go to YouTube.
You're getting the social media vibe kind of what.
Yeah, but you can still make use of your celebrities. And because, I mean, could you imagine if, you know, your favorite YouTuber, like, I have an interview with Tom Cruise at, you know, tomorrow at whatever, there would be, if they're big enough, all their subscribers would be watching, all of them. And they'd be watching just that. You'd be using less money to promote, and you'd be reaching a wider audience, people who are more likely to go and see your film. I think that's the key to film promotion is getting to the influencers. Even though I've always been, I'm like, influencers, this is the most stupid, ridiculous thing I've ever heard of, but I'm in it. I've done it. I go and watch my favorite YouTubers to find out what's good.
See, now, following on from that, going with that, was it Tom Hanks who didn't earn any money for Forrest Gump? He got it all out the back end. So there was no inflated budget to pay him his money. He took a percentage off of the profits.
I think a few celebrities have done that, and that's so smart.
That would be a good way to go, because you're bringing the budget down, and they're more invested in pushing that product. Sorry?
The actress in Mamma Mia did that, and she made a ton of money, way more than they would.
Sorry?
Huh?
Who was that?
In Mamma Mia, the musical?
Yeah.
I don't remember the actress's name. The main actress there, she took a percentage of the profits. And
Amanda Seyfried.
No, it wasn't her.
The young girl, or what's? Oh,
no, it's the Devil Wears Prada girl. That lady. What's her name? Come on, big time actress. Oh, she's an Academy Award winner. What's her name? Come on.
Batgirl.
Huh?
Batgirl.
No.
Batgirl. No.
Oh, so
she was in Death Becomes Her with Bruce Willis.
Who is the I Had a Farm in Africa lady? What's her name?
Helen Mirren. Was it Helen Mirren?
Meryl Streep.
Meryl Streep. There we go. Okay, so she said, no, just pay me a profit. And that was the assignment. And so she made well over 20 million. I mean, so if she had asked for a fee, it would have been under 20 million, but she made so much because she said, no, just give me a slice. And the movie was super popular. And yeah, she made a lot of money.
Because I think Tom Hanks did that with Forrest Gump and made like $60 million.
I heard Alec Guinness did it for Star Wars. He has a percentage of the Star Wars brand, or had.
But moving forward, that would be an ideal way to get these inflated budgets down, pay everyone off the back end. The actors are more invested in promoting this thing, and you
put your money where your mouth, or do a combination of both. I think a lot of actors now do a
Keanu Reeves does that, doesn't he?
Jack Nicholson, I think.
Keanu Reeves gives everything away.
He still owns a record. Okay. Anyway.
Yeah.
So the other movie we saw on our little date day with me and Tayters was 65.
How was it? I want to see that. Oh no.
No. Right, hang on. It's a good film. It's not the best film you're ever going to watch.
Yeah.
The fact that it's an hour and a half, there are problems with it, and I'm sure Liz is going to go full hog.
An hour and a half is short now by today's standards.
Yeah, but it needs to be.
It felt longer.
In fact, I honestly believe they could have probably cut a little bit more from it. Just trim it up a little bit more. But it was a good film. It moved along nicely, I feel.
Yeah. So it
tightened up slightly.
So put it this way. So the premise of it is he's on a spaceship. He gets hit in a meteor shower. He crash lands on a planet that turns out to be Earth 65 million years ago, and there's dinosaurs around. Everyone else on the ship has died. The ship's broken in two, and there's a girl that survived with him, a little girl that survived with him.
They were all in cryo sleep.
Yeah, and her parents have died, so he's now in charge of like looking after this little girl. She speaks a different language to him. His translator's broken. They do not understand each other. They've got to get from one point to the next point, which is where the other half of the ship is, which has got an escape pod so they can escape the planet. In between them and that escape pod is a load of dinosaurs.
Yeah.
But
simple.
But this is in the backdrop of there's that asteroid shower that hit their ship is also the one that had made the dinosaurs extinct.
Yeah.
So they've got 12 hours to get there because otherwise they're going to get caught in the extinction event.
They got to do 15 kilometers through dinosaur-riddled territory, across valleys and mountains and so on and so forth to get to their escape vessel.
And that is essentially, and that is literally the story. So in terms of story, that's it.
Can I just say though, the beginning of that story,
they get there.
They come from a galaxy far, far away a long time ago.
Yeah.
Okay, so the trailers are not very good then, right? So, Lizard, I mean, what you just told me, that's interesting, right?
Yeah.
But all I get in the trailers are like, oh, there's dinosaurs and I'm going to shoot them, or I'm going to run from them, or I'm going to scream at them. And I'm like, why? I want something that's got story. Yeah, show me that ship get hit, okay? Show me that they don't communicate with each other because they have different languages, right? I mean, that's conflict. That's interesting now.
Like a quiet place.
Yeah, it was
noise, like set
up. But the fact that I could sum up that story, it's something. The best way to describe it is it's simple but done good.
Yeah.
It's not going to be the best film that you've ever seen. It's simple.
Not an complicated story.
They've got to get from A to B. There's dinosaurs. My one little niggle with it is that there's some dinosaurs to me that didn't look like dinosaurs. I'm not a dinosaur expert.
No, they look like prehistoric sloth.
Yeah, I mean, one of like there's like this reptile thing that comes after them. There's like a group of reptiles, and I'm thinking, oh, it's going to be velociraptors. No, I don't know what the hell they were. They looked alien. They didn't look like dinosaurs. They looked alien. But other than that, it romped along. Okay, yeah, there was a little bit in there that you could have gone, we could have got rid of that. But overall, half hour, simple, entertaining, to be fair. Is it something I'd rush back to go and see? No. But if it was on TV, I wouldn't be turning it off.
Definitely, yeah, it was on telly. I mean, there was a few little jokes in there, there's a few little quips come in there that were fun, that fitted well. The other half of the story
is it was well timed. It was well timed as well.
Adam Driver, he's obviously a star pilot. And he was sent on a mission and his daughter was ill. And while he was on this mission that spent 2 years of his life, he lost his daughter. So he connects to this little girl like that. You know, that's the connection.
Ideas, really.
I said it earlier.
They're all good ideas, like intriguing.
I said it earlier. Imagine Joel and Ellie speaking a different language, but in space, and then crash landing the dinosaurs, and they got to get from A to B. It's essentially that. That's what it is. It's that sort of relationship between them is essentially that, but they can't talk. They can't communicate properly with each other, and they've got to get from A to B. That's as simple as the story is, but it's something simple that's actually done fairly good. And a lot of the criticism of this movie, because it has been panned to a degree, I think it's a bit harsh. Is it forgettable?
And that's coming from Liz.
You could argue, I'm not going to rush and see it again. But overall, it was entertaining for half an hour. There's no obvious plot things. It made you believe in the characters. The plot made sense. The abilities that he had with the machinery and the gadgets that he's got around him were believable. Of someone with, that's got the tech of space travel. It was believable with the stuff that he had. Stuff didn't work. Stuff went wrong. There's one bit where his gun's damaged because it's all like mechanical and it doesn't have to reload it. But the charger's going on it because it's been hit and the gun's been damaged. He gets damaged.
Good jeopardy.
There was some good jeopardy in it, and there was some good moments in it as well. And you got behind the characters. And to be fair, I'm not a big Adam Driver fan, but he carried that film really nicely.
Yeah, no, he did. He did.
I've got a question for you too. So, was it refreshing to watch a non-franchise sci-fi film?
Yeah,
I
think it was
franchise, no baggage. Just watch a film for an hour and a half. Story, beginning, middle, end. 2 new characters I've never heard of before. Hasn't got to be linked to anything. No baggage, no fanning around and farting around.
There's going to be no sequel. There's definitely no sequel to that. There's no prequel to that.
Music to my ears.
It's one and done.
Letting it wash over you.
Like I say, the fact that it was nice, short, it was in, out. There's a bit of story, a bit of entertainment. They could have tightened it up a tiny little bit, but not a lot. Again, there weren't much waste in that film.
No.
It was it was good. Good watch. Good watch, definitely.
Yeah, it was a good choice. And I think either the marketing hasn't gone right, or as Randy said, the trailer wasn't quite right, because that film deserves a bit better than what it got.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, it's not groundbreaking, it's not something that you're gonna go, oh my God. I'd tell you what I'd compare it to in a weird way. When we was talking about Prey, I would say it's better than Prey.
Oh, right. Okay.
And I'd never go and watch Prey again, but I'd say it's better than Prey. But yeah, no, it was just a nice bit of sci-fi, really.
I mean, the fact that you got this movie with just 2 characters, essentially, it was well done. It was good.
Yes, I think that's the best way to sum it up. Simple done good.
Yeah,
simple done good.
Oh, no.
So yeah, I was happy with that.
That makes me want to go and see it. Really? Well, go and see it in the other room when it comes on my TV screen.
Yeah.
I don't know if we'll get me to go to the cinema, but right. So, if that's all of the, has anyone else seen anything else of any note?
I saw Shazam.
Ooh. I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued.
What did you think, Randy? What did you think?
I liked it. Okay, and so maybe this will not be
quickly. Sorry, Randy. Did you see the first one?
Yeah.
Right. Cool.
Okay, so this might not be something that you guys are really liking, because what I like about it is it focuses on a story about family. So as far as it being a superhero movie, there's some bad guys. They show up, they, punch each other and everything, typical superhero stuff. But yeah, the focus is really on family. So the main character, Billy, who's Shazam, right? He's getting ready to turn 18, and he thinks that he's going to be booted out of the house because that's a foster home. So he thinks he's going to be booted out of the house and he won't have family anymore. And all the people that he loves and he's bonded with, that will end. So there's a lot on that, and about how family is together. They don't, they don't break up. They accept one another, even though, nobody's perfect and everyone has our our little foibles, right? So to me, that was a beautiful storyline. And then this movie actually is probably a lot more about Freddie, which is one of the other kids. And he's the one that has a lame leg. So he walks around with a cane and everything. And I thought that was a beautiful storyline. He has to face Lucy Liu, who is a goddess. And, it's really about, and had his powers taken from him at that point. And it's about the strength of character rather than the strength of the superhero. And to me, that was a beautiful message.
So are you saying you think
it was a decent enough story? It had heart to it because
are you saying the shit that it's got in terms of box office, because it is deemed as a flop at present, it's basically done terribly? Are you saying that's all
undeserved?
Very undeserved.
I think it's based on what you're going for. Now, keep in mind, I'm kind of a different viewer than a lot of you are. For me, a story that's about family and has heart, yeah, I'm sold. I want to see that. I would definitely go see this movie again because I love those themes, those family themes, right? As far as superheroes and punching, there was definitely parts where the plot was like, oh, this is cheesy, right? Or this is so predictable, or doesn't stand out compared to other superhero films. I'm going to do a review on it on my channel. And the thing is, so like on my channel, I do review on what I think are good movies. And so my audience that I'm building up appreciate stories that have family values, that have a good message.
Hold on, announcement alert.
Okay.
Announcement alert. What's all this my channel?
I have a channel.
We didn't know that.
Oh, well, I'm sorry. You want to hear a little more? I can tell you a little more. Actually, I would really love to mention something about it.
Tell all.
Okay. So I just started doing the movie reviews because I'm like, I went to the movie. It was good. Yeah. Maybe I should tell some people about it. So that's what I'm doing. And so it's not going to be a regular feature. So don't go to my channel because you're like, Randy's going to do a lot of movie reviews. No, if I think a movie's good, I'll do it. If I go to a movie and it's crappy, I'm not going to do a review on it. That's
the fun, Randy. Oh, come on.
There's one a year.
I know, but no. I've seen
not a lot of content for this channel, Randy, is there? Good movie. Good movie channel.
There's not on that, but I've gotten a surprising number of views, considering I thought I would not get any. So I did Jesus Revolution, and I did 80 for Brady, and you know what? There's another one I don't remember. And all of them I thought were pretty good movies. So I've posted reviews on all of them. But the exciting thing is, my main effort on that is what I'm calling it is Let's Write. And so I do writing challenges. So this next month, which is tomorrow, as of filming, once you post this, I don't know when it will be. So
it'll be now. Let's say now. I can edit that out. Just say
it'll be now. This month. So this month I'm going to do a short story challenge. So I call it a 30-day story challenge. And so at the end of the month, I'm going to go through and I'm going to be working on a story. I'm going to be giving tips. And then people who aren't as familiar, maybe they're just wanting to get started on writing, they can come over to the channel. They can get some tips from me. They're always welcome to post comments or email me or whatever if they've got more questions, and they can follow along. But what's exciting about this next month is, no, and I didn't bring any copies down. I've been publishing a couple of anthologies by Heinlein Press. And what Heinlein Press does is they do these anthologies as benefits. What do you call it?
Fundraisers.
Sort of. So there's a science fiction convention up in Salt Lake City called Life, the Universe, and Everything. And what it does is all the proceeds for that go to helping beginning writers to be able to afford to attend the conference, because that will help their career, right? And so if you're writing, you're not getting paid. But I'm like, you know what? I think that's a good thing. I got a lot of help when I started writing. And if I can write a story and people read it and everything, and it helps someone else move on their writing journey, I'm willing to do that. So the one of the stories that was published was It's a Kick's Life, which I enjoyed so much and I think it's so good. I'm doing the graphic novel, so the Kicks graphic novel based on a short story that I wrote for them. So the thing is, I've contacted them, and they're like, I want to do your call for submission. They have one, and it's called Dog Save the Queen. So all the stories have to have a dog in it, and it has to do with, and they have to have royalty in it, and the dog has to in some way help the royalty or the storyline move forward, right? And I'm like, oh my goodness, I could write that, and I could do something with it and be awesome.
Are you actually specifying that's got to be royalty? Because I can see a pet helping out a transsexual from that title.
Oh, see, I went with the band.
Okay.
I just imagine a dog rock, on the guitar.
No, I'm in drag, baby. I'm in drag with a little chihuahua.
I'm suggesting maybe that you guys don't submit those stories. I don't think.
No.
You prude, Randy. You prude.
Not me. The call for submission
you
is very
to queen, darling. You said a dog and a queen.
okay.
We have a king now.
Both there. We were both there, darling.
I said the call was titled that, but the actual parameters are royalty. So I mean, but you could do whatever you want with it. So this month, I'll be going step by step, and I'm going to be writing a short story to submit, and then people can watch me, and they can, I mean, I'll have tips for them, and they could also be writing, so they could also submit for this anthology, right? And I think it'd be really fun. I mean, and people can swap ideas and talk about their ideas in the comment section, and I think it would just be massively fun to have people join me and work on their stories, and all of us submit at the end of the month for this anthology.
Cool.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Nice.
Excellent. So, I don't know how but thanks for that, Randy. I don't know how we got to there from what we were talking about, but it was still good.
Well, I'm glad we did. I really
we forget what we were. Listen, waffle is waffle, isn't it?
Yeah.
We love the waffle.
And I was really hoping a lot of the fans here will find that interesting and will come on over to my channel and give it a try.
Give me the links. I'll put all the link. Well, as much as I can. You know, when I say put the link, I can't. I don't get it at the moment.
Text me. I'll guide you. It's easy.
Thank you, Anna. I've tried. Even I've tried. I'm a trier.
No. I'll walk you through it. It's once you figure it out, you'll be like, why didn't I figure this out?
That's what she said.
My hand. Will you hold my hand and walk me through it?
I'll hold both hands.
Oh, bless. Right. So I was inundated with questions when we announced it on the last hogCAST. It's taken me the whole 2 weeks since the last hogCAST to wade.
Where did you ask these questions?
To wade through the amount of questions.
Where did you get these questions from?
Here.
Your Reddit?
No, from YouTube.
Comments.
Right. So not on the Insta. Everybody, go to geekyOlhog Insta. Get your questions in.
Yeah, and all that stuff.
You've got more followers there.
And all that stuff. I haven't got more followers on
Reddit.
Insta
more followers than Reddit.
Insta followers aren't real, I don't think. Like I've got anyway. I won't do that because I might put people off following me on Insta. Love you. I don't get it. So apologies. I do find Reddit more interesting, to be fair. Insta, I really. We don't go there.
But yet you can emoji like a teenager.
I have got a question.
Yeah.
What's that?
I said, yet you can emoji like a teenager.
Yes. I don't understand how you must have them on like speed, like how you can just like quickly throw them out there really quick. I'm like, how does he do this? It takes me like 10 minutes to find the right one.
He literally speaks emoji.
I even do it at work, bearing in mind I work in civil engineering and construction, and I just can't WhatsApp without adding an emoji. It's a problem. I have to emote something. I have to either say I'm angry or I'm happy or I love you. at the end of every sentence. So anyway, that's my problem.
A little Saturday night feed.
No, it's not bad.
Yeah,
it's not bad. It's impressive. It's really, it's astonishing. I stop sometimes and I go, you guys, look at this text message that Hog sent me.
It's like this much emojis in a
text. You're saying, look, this is a grown man that's just sent me this.
Yeah,
a grown man.
I could show those messages to an illiterate 4-year-old and they would understand them perfectly.
I normally just get aubergines.
That's where I'm building up my fan base on YouTube.
I think we've just hit something there. We've just discovered something.
Well, look who I've got around me now. That says something, doesn't it?
Hey.
I agree with you.
There, Tayters, before you go there.
I agree with you.
You guys are lucky. I just get aubergines sent to me.
Yeah.
Right. I've got a question. I've got three. I'm going to throw
3 questions.
I was inundated. How can Disney Plus save Marvel or Star Wars?
Stop making them for a while.
Again, yeah, I think they're on that path. I think they're on that path now.
Hiatus.
I think they're on that path now where everything that was planned is stop. Mm-hmm. Let's sack everybody and start again and move forward slowly and intelligently.
There's a fatigue, isn't there? There's a fatigue.
Absolutely.
Like with Mandalorian Series 3, like I was saying earlier on, in all fairness to that, I think it's the general malaise.
Yeah.
Fatigue it's deserved. It's not deserved of season 3 of Mandalorian as such, but the fact that you've got a Kenobi and a Book of Boba Fett and all the other shit that they do.
And all of Marvel Phase 4.
Yeah. Hasn't made people want to tune in to Mandalorian Series 3. It's the fatigue. And especially like, you know, Randy is saying, you know, the new Shazam film. But I think people are genuinely, it's the fatigue of watching another superhero film with a CGI battle at the end, and
it's not just that; it's the messaging as well. It's all the little sort of like I've got my views to push. It's
I mean, Black Adam could have had all that. What you're talking about, Tayters, could have had all that trimmed out, and that would have been a really solid, decent actioner. Black Adam.
Yeah.
But it had this ridiculous storyline about villagers, and they had to. Did you see that, Mandy? Black Adam.
I did.
And don't you think that all that silly? It was so obviously on the nose, wasn't it? About a certain section of people in a certain part of the world being.
I think the key to it is stop, get rid of all your writers and all your writing teams, scale it all back, and just get some good writers in to sit around that table and actually come up with a decent story and idea. Because everything else you can get on that production wagon, but you can't go on that journey of production until you've got a proper good script that's gone through that creative process. That's not just the first draft that you've gone, shit, let's get that out. Like we're on a schedule here, guys. Take the time to write a good story and just do 2 one-off films. One one-off film of Star Wars, one one-off of Marvel, and see how that goes. Have we got it right, guys? Yeah, okay, that's worked. Let's continue. They just need to reset massively, but get focus on story and writing to start off with, and then everything else falls into place after that. Because if you're holding everything back, you've got the talent there in terms of the actors, you've got talent there in terms of directors that you can get in, and if all the production houses on CGI and post-production aren't rushed off their feet, they can actually spend some time to make all the CGI and all the other bits look absolutely amazing. All of that is pointless if you haven't got a good story and a good script.
I think also following the same path, don't advertise your film as it's going to come out at this point until do what Netflix is doing with Avatar: The Last Airbender. It could drop tomorrow. We don't even know. Yeah. It's been top secret, and they're waiting until they know they have a good product before they start advertising. Like so I think,
Yeah, and confident. You need some writers. We got 3 here.
And quickly as well,
volunteering.
and quickly as well, the whole idea of scrapbooking and the whole idea of, oh, we'll just go back and reshoot. You're doing that. You're just proving the fact that you had never had a good script or story in the first place. Okay, a couple of pickup shots, maybe. But if anyone's coming to you, if you're sitting at the top and someone's coming to you saying you need to do reshoots, I'm just going to be going, oh, we need 8 weeks. Well, you obviously don't know what the fuck you're doing then, do you? A couple of pickup shops, maybe, but that's it. That's it. Come on.
Indy 5, 8 weeks of reshoots.
That's a joke.
This is what I would do. So they just put me in charge, which would
there we go.
probably not be the greatest idea to do. But if they put me in charge, I announced that there's no more phase 5 or 6 or 7. It's that whole thing is gone. And I plan, so let's talk Marvel. I plan maybe 2 or 3 smaller budget films, and I go with kind of the lesser powered heroes. So what I'm talking about is like Daredevil or someone where the special effects does not have to be huge. And you keep
Blade is a good one. I was looking forward to that Marshall Ali, whatever is it? Have I got his name right? As the new Blade.
Oh
yeah. Okay, and that's a good example, right?
Like the kind of a bit of a calmer, less CGI heavy. Let's get back to basics almost.
Right. Yeah. And then like you like Space Lizard said and Amber is saying, I mean, we're all saying get good writers. We don't do all this storyboarding or whatever we're saying, right? We don't do that. We get some high talented people. We tell good stories that have a good value at the center of them, and then they succeed, right? I mean, so we get a Daredevil or we get a Blade, and it comes out, and they only spend 35, 50 million, and people will go there and watch it because we're not doing any messaging. We're doing story. And I don't care where the messaging comes from the right, left, whatever. Let's stop with that. Let's just talk about values that all people everywhere can understand and appreciate. And there are definitely plenty of values in that realm that we as people can appreciate just because we're people. And then you move forward and you do that, and hopefully that pays off. And that show comes in and it makes money. Maybe we make a sequel because it was successful, but we do it based on the same thing that we did in the first one, which is quality story. And yeah, let's attach an actor to it that's really going to move that forward and that people like and that they want to go to the theater and see it. I mean, so we're talking about Keanu Reeves, right? I mean, so he's great. Put Keanu Reeves in it, right? Into a film, and then we're going to get people in for that. And I understand that increases the budget, but getting one name star in there that people like, that makes sense. All right. And then you just continue to do that. You quit all this other silly stuff that's killing the industry and you build up. And, you know, and if that works, you do 2 more movies kind of along that lines, right? Lower budget, good story. And yeah, let's get away from the big budget fight scenes, because I think that's one of the things. We talk about fatigue. I mean, how many times can you see the superheroes slam people into buildings before? Like, yeah, I've seen that. It's old. Let me see something new. And what always feels new is good story and good acting, good characters.
Yeah. And within that, good writers make fight scenes inventive and interesting.
Yeah.
And impactful. Now, one of my favorites is Captain America Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
And the standout fight scenes in that, the set pieces, even the elevator fight scene, the imagination that the writer and the directors had with him and 10 blokes in an enclosed space with the magnetic cuffs, and he's straining against it while he's kicking someone else in the face, and then he's got that off, and the electric truncheon, whatever it is that the others have got. That's, instead of just fisticuffs and he's going to punch them and knock them all out, and then you're going to have the SWAT team, even the doors opening and straight away whirls round. Everything is bang, bang.
But
bang.
using Winter Soldier as an example.
But that's imagination.
But using that Winter Soldier film as an example, the way they choreograph their fight scenes in that where it was almost grounded. There was CGI, obviously. We've all seen the film. There was CGI in it, but a lot of those set pieces, those action set pieces, even with Civil War as well, there was that element of this is real stunt guys, real people doing it, and the exceptionalism of Captain America showed through better because it's Captain America. The way they choreograph the fights, yeah, he's stronger, yeah, he's faster, but it's being done in a more of a realistic way. When it's all just CGI green screen all over the place, that's where you just go, and there's no story behind the fight scene, if that makes sense. It's just, we want to show a spectacle. It's the formulaic. It's the formulaic fight scenes that you always get. With Winter Soldier, every fight scene in that film had a story in that fight scene. And them fight scenes progressed the story moving forwards. With Bucky, when, like, for example, when Bucky assassinates Nick Fury and he chases him, that little action set piece, okay, he's running through bloody walls and it's all obviously staged, but you can see that someone's doing that. It's not just completely fake. There's obviously fake walls and stuff like that, but he's actually doing that. And the chase and desperation to try and get the person that's just, he thinks he's dead. He's just killed his mate. There's a story behind that chase. There's a story in the fight scenes. There's story there. It's not just a formulaic thing just to throw in, oh, right about now, the formula says we need to throw in a CGI battle. And that's the issue. And again, it's the key to all of this is focus on story. And if you're going to give us a show titled Obi-Wan Kenobi, make it about Kenobi.
So how do you save Star Wars? Whatever the name on the title of the show is,
make that your main character.
We're going to put him or her in it. Quite a lot.
So really quick, I'm thinking now of the Unbreakable series. Did you guys see that at all?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I wasn't that impressed with the third one, which was Glass. But I liked the first two though. I was a fan of Unbreakable when it came out and nobody else liked it. And I was like, what's wrong with you? This is brilliant. And then when
it didn't go down, but anyway.
Well, the thing is, it wasn't all fighty. It wasn't over the top.
Yeah.
It wasn't.
There was one fight scene in Unbreakable.
Sedate. Yeah, it was quite sedate for but it was a good story.
That is a low budget superhero film. That at least the first two were.
Yes.
Yeah. We're looking for more like that. And they don't have to be connected. You could have independent stories. Although I got to the end of Split and saw Bruce Willis and I went, oh my gosh, I know what this is. But I don't think you should do that. That was like, one off, but because nobody knew that's what was going on. Yeah. But I think that, Randy's onto something, this low budget superhero thing. Those were huge hits. Split and Glass. I mean, people went to go see Glass because Split was good and because they fell in love with Unbreakable after Split came out. And then they were disappointed with Glass. But people wanted it. And it didn't cost that much to make those first two films. So that is proof that you can have a great hit, a good superhero movie with great action sequences. They were pretty good. I mean, they weren't like, cinematic, but they were powerful emotionally. And that's what people want to see.
Sounds like we're all saying back to basics.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like individual films, beginning, middle, end, that may or may not, but does not rely on an extended multiverse. Just get back to basics, especially at the beginning. This would be my answer to this question. And we're all saying reboot and get back to basics, and I'm agreeing with all of you with that. And almost like you've only got to go back to the beginning of. I think it's more Marvel than Star Wars. I don't know, because Star Wars started out as movies, didn't it? And then they kind of ruined it with the TV stuff. But the films they set up as trilogies, and I didn't think that was a bad thing. I didn't think that was a bad thing for the prequels or the plan for the sequels. Bear with me. I'm not saying that the individual films were any good. I'm just saying the plan.
The plan.
So from now, I'm talking about the Marvel stuff. Pick a character, lesser. I mean, Moon Knight would be a great one for a movie. Yeah. For a movie. What they've done, like Randy's saying, the lesser down ones. What Lizzie's saying, practical effects.
Yeah.
You know, dark. What you know, Amber was saying about the glass and split and all that. They're darker.
Yeah.
Marvel has got plenty of that going on. Plenty of that going for
them. 100%.
From just get back.
100%. Well, look at
get Moon Knight in the Avengers in 10.
Look at the biggest success.
Well, but for now,
on Star Wars side, the biggest success and the most critically acclaimed of Disney Star Wars has been Rogue One.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And look at that story. It's slightly darker. It's following some rebels, pretty much new characters. There's a couple of little fan bits in there, like as Tayters was saying, and like I've spotted as well. You got the like little rebels connections in there. But if you don't know it, you don't know it. But it's fine. But you got
it doesn't detract from the story.
Yeah, doesn't distract from the story. Look how dark it is. Everyone dies at the end, and you get a cool bit of Vader. And you get a cool bit of Vader. And you get
Spoilers,
Oh, it came out in 2016, man. It's done now. But you get a cool bit of Vader in the hallway that everyone's going, oh my God, that was an awesome scene.
Yeah.
It's got exactly what you want. They need to do like another Rogue One in a way.
So, yeah, I agree. Leading on from that, next question. Is Star Trek as dead of a franchise as Star Wars?
Yes,
Deader.
unless they go back to old Star Trek.
I've got to lead this off because I think you're the biggest Trekkie amongst us. So
possibly
Trekkie or Trekker?
No, they call it Trekkie, but no, I'm not really, because I tried a lot of Deep Space Nine and Voyager, and it didn't resonate with me as well as Next Generation. I feel like Next Generation set a precedent for it's going to be an idealistic future with conflict. Although it didn't start out that way. If you watch that, what was it? All Hands on Deck or Chaos on the Deck or on the Bridge. That's it. Chaos on the Bridge, that mini documentary. It's hilarious. It's about all the writing of the show. But this idealistic, future that still has problems getting along with everybody in the galaxy and all that. Anyway, they have strayed from that and they've turned it into the Marvel universe. They're doing things that are not in the same wheelhouse of what was set up originally by Gene Wilder.
Now that would have been amusing.
Gene Roddenberry in the original series and in Next Generation. And that's why I think it's lost some favor. I know Deep Space Nine did really well, and Voyager had its own following too, but it's kind of slowly been this decline. They could bring it back with the Starfleet Academy. They could do it. And that's, I think, what they got to do. They have to get away from so much of the dark and, the future is terrible and we're at war and it's this big, epic, dramatic thing. There were fun episodes. You got to get back to some of the stuff that people really loved this series for. You're turning it into mainstream, and Star Trek has never been mainstream. Not that I'm saying I'm not gatekeeping here. I'm saying this is the thing that made it so unique and special. Yeah. So figure that out. And go with it. So is Star Trek dead like Marvel and Star Wars? I would say if they do continue to do what they're doing, yes, it is. And they've got to figure something else out. They have to do something totally unique. They need to come back and rethink what they're doing. But
Kurtzman,
yeah,
isn't it? It's Kurtzman. Kurtzman is, and hasn't he just got an extension to 2020? He's just got an extension on his contract with Star Trek, isn't he? If I remember hearing that rumor.
I'd argue it's deader because it's almost more ahead. Yeah, deader.
Right. I'd argue don't hire him. Deader. Bad writing.
But I would argue that Star Trek was almost ahead of the curve. Like Disney Star Wars sort of started in 2015. So we've had 7 years of this at the moment.
Wow.
That's a lot.
8 years actually now. Get the maths right. But Star Trek has been going downhill for about 10, 14 years.
Yeah.
So actually it's further down the line. Now I've seen the first 3 episodes of Picard, and it's almost like Picard. I know what your feelings are, Amber, but it's almost like Picard. And I've watched the first 3 episodes of Picard. I haven't watched anything else of Star Trek for God knows how many years. But it's almost like the feeling behind it is almost like where the Andor for Star Wars came in, where it's that, there's that glimmer of hope. And it's the latest thing they've done. But they're not doing that anymore. So I kind of feel like Star Trek's further down the line and they haven't course corrected, whereas Star Wars has gone down the wrong path, but they've still got that potential to course correct. If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Well, my answer to that question is they're both dead.
I have a solution for Star Trek too.
They're dead. Both dead.
What's your solution, Randy?
Okay, so let's think back. So the original Star Trek series, why did that succeed? And I'm going to say that it's because of two things. One is exploration, space, the final frontier. So every week we got, or every episode, we got to see a new culture, a new place, new aliens, right? And then secondly, in a lot of ways, it was a science fiction version of the Twilight Zone without the kind of quirky ending at Twilight Zone, right? Because what they were doing is they were looking at ideas, racism and just all sorts of stuff, right? Anything that they could do. So let's reboot Star Trek not reboot. Well, maybe like a reboot. We go with a ship. It's an exploratory ship. We're going to see new cultures and new situations every episode, right? So that goes back to what really made it. And then secondly, start scouring the sci-fi community, looking for short stories that depict a world, and that story is fascinating, and incorporate those stories. And that way we do get these different cultures, and we do get whatever perspective and take, right? Whatever issue they're exploring. And we do that because that's what real science fiction is about, is exploring ideas with the whole what if this happened, and would that be better or would that be worse? And I don't feel that we're doing that. Get back to what the original Star Trek was about. And I think it would do fine.
I think as well, the other thing to add on that is the original Star Trek and Next Generation made the audience ask questions of what you would do and makes you think about scenarios and think about situations. So again, get some good writers in. It all comes back down to the writing. Always comes back down to the writing.
The closest thing that we've had to Star Trek in a long time is the Orville. Yes. And that was Star Trek with humor. That's what it was. It was the most Star Trek not Star Trek show I've ever seen. I mean, it was, I was like, this is the Next Generation comedy. That's what it is. It was so good. And it had all the elements that the Next Generation had, and it wasn't respected as, people discovered it, obviously. Like, oh my gosh, this is the most Star Trek-y thing ever. If you could take that, take Seth MacFarlane and say, hey, can you come up with some interesting ideas for us? And we'll just go with it. I mean, yeah.
Just don't everything voices.
Yeah, seriously. But no, Randy's got it. Everything, the exploration, the new cultures, the philosophical questions. It's different from mainstream, what people consider mainstream. Now people love this sort of thing, but it's not the same as everything else, and that's why people really loved it. Don't make it the same as everything else. Then we'll just say
that's what it was.
I know.
Do you think that's where it went wrong? Is the fact that they're looking at, right, how can we continue to build on this? And they've gone wrong because they thought, instead of pleasing the Trekkies and instead of pleasing existing fans, we're going to try and make it mainstream. So in doing so, you then lose the core of what it actually is supposed to be.
I think
because geek culture has grown. I mean, the geek community is mainstream community now, but you're not making movies for the real geeks. You're making it for everybody else, going like, okay, who would go and see this? People who like the current Marvel movies might go and see this. They're not the ones who become the real diehard fans of this sort of thing.
So the thing is, like the original Trek series should go down a storm in today's society.
Oh yeah.
Because it should, because of the inclusive themes that Roddenberry incorporated into all of that. He just got it. He was ahead of his time. He was. It was good storytelling.
And the trouble is, it's creative bankruptcy. It is the mainstream invasion. But it's also creative bankruptcy, because what Randy's saying, and I do agree with it, and me and Liz have had conversations about.
Is it creative bankruptcy though?
It is creative bankruptcy because it is the lost art of short storytelling.
Yeah.
And when you are demanding, when you are demanding a beginning, middle, end every episode, not an extended 8 episodes of one story arc with 3 threads, it just goes on, and then there's a cliffhanger at the end. So you still haven't delivered. You still haven't delivered the ending. After 8 episodes or 10 episodes, every episode of exploring that different planet demands, and I know I've mentioned this on previous podcasts, Incredible Hulk. All that was The Fugitive, which was a series decades from the 60s, where, you know, the one-armed man, and they'd done the film with Harrison Ford, but the TV show, and all of those classic TV shows was one complete story. Every single
I think another issue.
That's where I'm saying it's a creative bankruptcy. If they're going to,
there's a lot of. I think there's a lot of creative people out there, but I feel like with all these big corporations and the people that are in charge, you've got so much content they've got to deliver, so they're getting so many people in that haven't improved their game enough to be at that level. But on top of that, with all the algorithms and stuff like that, their hands are tied most of the time. So I feel like one, their hands are tied, and 2, there's so much content, they're getting their Z-list writers in to try and fill that content. Again, if you scale everything back and you get the people that are at the top of their game, I mean, some of the stuff that they've thrown out in Phase 4 of Marvel, yeah, it's shocking, it's shit. But can we really blame the writers? Yes, we can. But at on another sort of viewpoint, it's like they've been thrown in. It's like they haven't had their schooling. They haven't learnt their craft. So they've been thrown in very inexperienced. So actually, it's not entirely their fault. They've been given a set of rules from the company that they've got to abide by. They're massively out of their depth. They haven't learnt their craft, and now they're being thrown in to do this. When actually, don't get me wrong, if you've got the talent and you think, right, I'm going to try and do this correctly, and you've got the right mindset of I'm going to deliver a story over anything else, then you should be able to deliver something half good. But
showrunner,
it's not the things, is it?
A good showrunner would take new writers, an unknown writer, take them under their wing and experience. This is what the showrunner should be.
Yeah.
Experienced, creative. The showrunners at She-Hulk, just that was the first. That was the first shitter come to the top of the bucket of poo, right? That rose, the first floater, right, with too much sweet corn in it.
I think that showrunner's actually still running. I'm pretty sure he hasn't stopped.
Running down his left leg, I think. New writers, new creativity has got to be encouraged.
Yeah, because you need new ideas.
But nurtured. Take them under your wing. Like the guy, I think, I don't know who I've told them, regaled with the story of when I was writing the comic stories. And this editor, he took me under his wing and he helped me shut up, Tayters. I can't tell this story enough times. And it's my channel.
He wrote a comic.
15.
Oh, sorry. He wrote 15 comics. 15
published stories, actually.
Nice.
And the editor, right at the beginning, was getting rejected. But bless him, he took me under his wing. This is my point. And steered me towards what was a good story, what he wanted, what he could publish, what he couldn't publish. I'm a new writer. Now, what Liz was just saying is partly true, but it's not just the experienced, best top of the shop writers you need. You do need them. What you do need is the figurehead, the showrunner at the top, using both.
Yeah.
And that's what, long term, that's what's for these teams. But that's what we used to have. We used to have that. We used to have creativity kind of tempered with the business acumen of what suited an audience and what an audience demanded. It's gone now.
Yeah.
Because we're in the infancy of streaming. Streaming is it's in its infancy, and I think we're still going to see a contraction in the next between 5 and 10 years. This is really going to shrink because there aren't enough people with enough money to just consume all this content. It's got to. I think we're already nearly there. I think we're already nearly there at saturation point with it all. Yeah, you can't have Netflix and Amazon and Dismal and all the rest of them, HBO Max and Warner Brothers. You can't have them all.
Well, we've talked about this. We've talked about the lack of analytics, the lack of adverts, the lack of you've got no way to see what your audience are.
But arrogance and ego gets in the way. You either win. It's an old like martial arts saying. You either win or you learn.
Yeah.
If you lose at something or something doesn't go well, don't take it as a loss. Take it as, right, I need to learn what went wrong there so it doesn't go wrong next time. You either win or you learn. But if you're so arrogant and you've got such an ego that you don't learn from that, then you are going to start to lose and you are going to keep losing.
Like Ricky Bobby. If you're not first, you're last, Ricky Bobby.
But if the way they're going at the moment, they are not learning.
Well, no, at the moment they're telling us what we like.
Yeah, they're not learning.
That's the bit. Again, be it a brain fart or a brain wave, I don't know what I had, but I was just thinking with the analytics side of it, something as simple. Take Netflix or Dismal. When you do your paid subscription, you've got a bank of credits. Whatever you apply your credits to, if you don't like it, you can dislike. This simple dislike button. So they've got some analytics coming back. Okay, these many people actually applied their credits to this show. Out of that many people, X amount disliked it or liked it.
And watch hours or watch minutes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it could be as simple as that. Applying, there's a bank of credits for your subscription. Where you spend those credits tells us what's being watched mostly, rather than
It'll never happen, but I like it.
Well, again, yeah, like I say, be it a brain wave or a brain fart, I wasn't sure, but it was just
it's good.
Moment, yeah.
But will they? Yeah, and it is a good idea, but I don't think any of them are going to want to apply that because they don't really. This is the trouble.
Well, if they do, I'll 0.01%. That's my fee.
That's all you need. But they don't want to admit to their failures. This is the other thing. It's almost like it's getting political now. It's almost like, Trump saying, no, I didn't lose an election.
Yeah.
They lie. And they say, no, it was a success. But now the
girl that did Ghostbusters did it, didn't she? If you don't like this, you're sexist.
Oh, that's a whole.
If you don't like this, you're against women. It's just like, no.
They just can't admit. But then they double down on stuff. Like Hollywood in general has doubled down on it. But until they face reality, and I think reality is coming to bite them on the arse now. Because they've all losing money. Apart from Netflix. Netflix is the only one that's still got cash in the bank.
Yeah. Moving forward as well.
Amazon is the anomaly because I think we all have Amazon Prime. Because we want free postage on our passports.
Pretty much, that's it, yeah.
The one thing I would do moving forward,
which is annoying because you can't kind of apply what we're talking about to them.
The one thing I would do moving forward is anyone that's working for me, I'd have them sign a contract that they're never going to hit out at any sort of fans in any sort of way, making comments or about, they didn't like it because they don't understand it or trying to belittle your fan base. That would be in the contracts. If you talk out, and you go and you act like a child, instead of being professional and going, well, some people are going to like it, some people aren't, and just, having your head high and having a bit of pride about yourself, instead of these childish outbursts that a lot of these people are having, I would have it in the contracts. If you have that childish outburst, you're off straight away. You're never working for me again, because these are our customers. You do not insult our customers.
Here's the sad, sad truth. That used to be considered childish. Now that is what children have grown up to think is acceptable behavior for an adult.
Yeah, 100%.
And I wonder, because so many of these shows that we do complain about have younger writers and unproven writers. And here's the thing. So I have a lot of successful writer friends, And the really good writers, they take critique, right? So they will, whatever they've written, they'll hand it out. And you know what? I'm really let them know. I really let them know what's wrong with a manuscript, and they do the same for me. And the good writers, they're like, okay, I see where you're going with this. Okay, I'm going to make some changes. And that doesn't mean you always have to do what everyone who points something out says, but you have to be open to the fact that you did not write the perfect story.
At least think about it. Yeah. At least
let's think about it.
Yeah.
And
if nobody can take critique anymore, though. Nobody can take critique.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
You kill someone, they've done it wrong. They go, "Oh, you're against me," and my whatever.
You're racist because you made a comment, or you're. I mean, whatever it is, right? I mean, and it's not. I mean, so I mean, I'll give critique, and you don't want to take it, that's fine. But generally, most of the people, they do come to me, and they're like, "Oh, that's good. My story will be much better because of what you have told me. I can make changes."
So, like Liz just said, you succeed or learn.
Yeah.
Move forward.
And it's that creative table, isn't it? You've got to be able to all talk honestly with each other. Instead of telling them actually love each other, a true friend is someone that puts you in your place when you need to be.
Yeah, or even that Aaron Sorkin. His I love his idea of having 3. It can never be an even number. But he said you can have 3 or 5 or 9, whatever it is. Yeah. He said, but if you're going to talk about something you've created, you must have people around you that you can trust to brainstorm with, or throw your idea at.
Right.
But you can only have an odd number, because you'll have 2 that agree and 1 that doesn't, and or 5, you'll have 3 and 2.
You need a consensus, You
can't ask like one friend, is this good or bad? Because you're just going to get that friend say, well, this is. And I do like that. I do like that idea of the I think he calls it the triangle of trust or something. Well, that might be from a film. I don't know. No, that's a circle of trust, isn't it? Robert De Niro, isn't it? Anyway, the last question. I don't think we've answered any of these questions, but let's prove plow through.
We want more questions, though. We still want more questions.
I don't think of course we do. Yeah, we can. This will keep us waffling on for about 24 hours at this rate. Not answering anything. Not answering anything. Satisfaction level. We're talking about satisfaction levels. Dismal. Anyway, last question. But this is a bit comic specific, and it was on one of my comic review.
Yeah.
And it was, which non-DC or Marvel comic character would you adapt to TV or film? So
I had a meltdown with this one.
Really?
Yeah, Liz really melted down. I know, obviously, you 4 aren't really prolific comic books, so I do get it. But what
I had a meltdown with this one.
Expand it to maybe, if you know Marvel and DC characters that haven't been turned into TV or film.
See, so
or books,
or a book character, maybe.
My instant thought, although they have actually made it into a TV show, but I wanted to make it into a film, was Witchblade.
That was a TV show, wasn't it?
I know it wasn't that good, but
she was all right, wasn't she?
Oh no! But I think if they made that into a movie,
nice eyebrows.
I think that could do. Because what I'm trying to remember what franchise that was. What
that was Image. That was Image Comics.
Image. Yeah. It was
an Image, a imprint of Image Comics.
So I made my choice, and I realised it was under Vertigo, which is part of DC, which is a bit annoying. But I'm still going with it. 100 Bullets. I don't know if anyone's heard of that.
I've heard of it. Tell us what's the premise.
Hog actually lent it to me. So 100 Bullets is a bloke turns up called Agent Graves, and I would say it'd be worked best as a 6-episode series. And he gives you a briefcase with a gun, all the information you need, and 100 bullets, so you can go and kill someone and take revenge on someone that's done you wrong in life. The bullets are untraceable. Police see it at the scene, they instantly won't do it and won't investigate any further.
Everything is untraceable. Everything.
Okay.
Yeah. So it raises the question: if you was in that situation and someone's done you wrong in life, and you knew you couldn't get caught for it, would you do it? And it could work easily as like 6 standalone episodes, different story each week, with the running thread of it. 100 Bullets, thoroughly enjoyed. If it was a novel, I'd go with Andy McNab's Nick Stone bits, which is almost like a Born Identity sort of terminalist sort of style. And he's Andy McNab's an ex-SAS guy, Special Forces in the UK. And he does very good, realistic, gritty action and good thriller novels based off of his experiences and all that, but all done by a fictional character of Nick Stone. But yeah, graphic novel, 100 Bullets. If it was a book, a novel, it would be the Nick Stone series.
Yeah, that's a good choice, actually.
I like that. That is good.
So you're going Witchblade, Tayters?
Well, yeah. So Witchblade was my first thought. My second thought was, again, I think I've mentioned it before. Manga made a film so many years ago, Ninja Scroll. I would like to see that in live action.
Ninja Scroll?
Ninja Scroll.
Okay.
So good. It was so good. Such a good story. I'd just like to see that in live action. That would be my second choice.
I remember when I had the shops, I used to sell when it was VHS videos.
Yes.
And that manga stuff, that like Neon Genesis Evangelion and obviously Akira, just the movie was big. Gundam. Oh, there was tons.
Yeah, there was loads.
All the VHS that come out. But I was the only one that was getting them in before it all went a bit mainstream.
Yeah.
The halcyon days.
Yeah.
Anyone else got any?
I do.
Go on, Rand.
Amber, did you have something? You can go first.
Nah, go ahead.
All right. So I'm not going to play this fair. I'm going to say that my character, Law Boy from the Kicks comics that I'm doing.
Do that. But it's not Marvel and DC. So
it's not Marvel and DC. I mean, and I'm working on it. And we should be starting the Kickstarter soon. But in my stories, the sidekicks are the real heroes. And so there's so much to work there because they do not have any superpowers. They don't have powers, right? And it's not like what we're normal seeing that, maybe Robin's got like combat training and stuff. These guys don't. They have to be smart because they're outmatched and everything, and they have to really work behind the scenes. So I think that is such a different approach to the genre that I think it would be popular. It would be, I think, easy to film. I mean, it would not be a high budget, lots of, CGI stuff, I don't feel. And because I'm writing it, it's going to really be based on character and story. So I'm going to put that. Now, if you're going to go books.
Oh, that would be a good one, Elathon.
So let me give you the pitch that I give everyone. That is my book. I know it says Bennett Lodge. That's also me.
Yours as well. Oh, what is this? The Randy Hour?
Yes. Sometimes sometimes you got to take advantage of it when you can.
You are shameless, Randy.
I know.
This.
So
actually, I'm just going to check the name of the person that sent this question in. To be fair, Randy one at kickscomics.com. That's enough of this question and answer session. Be over.
You don't want to hear about the book?
Yeah, go on, mate. Go on.
Okay, so every thousand years,
the remit of the question. So yeah, you go for it.
Every 1,000 years, hell has a foot race to the gates of heaven, and the winner gains a second chance at life. Now, can I turn that into a television series? Not the race itself, but the stuff in hell leading up to the race and everything. Yeah, I could do that. And there's so many stories to tell. And it's a setting that really hasn't been overdone, right? I mean, I don't know of a show that took place in hell and has people from all eras in there with all sorts of I don't belong in hell kind of explanations and everything, and lots of people that do belong there for villains. I mean, I think I could write tons and tons of storylines based on that setting.
Yeah,
nice. I like that idea.
Yeah, I like that idea. That's a good one. But did you have any
Yeah. So, because I don't read a lot of American comics, and it's been a long time since I've read any anyway, but I did come across, when it first came out, like again, 15, 20 years ago, Death Note, which is a Japanese manga. You've heard of it?
Yeah, didn't they do a Netflix film?
Oh my gosh, it was absolute shit and not anywhere close to. It was nothing at all like the manga.
Superb.
I gotta say, the manga was absolutely fantastic. It was the most thrilling thing I have read. I mean, I could not get enough of it. I was just turning pages like, oh my gosh, this is both the good guys and the bad guys, if there are any, were so smart. I couldn't tell what they were going to do next, and they were stunning me page after page. It absolutely deserves a good adaptation. There is a Japanese one.
The art like superb in that as well. The art.
Yeah, it was good. And I know there was an anime. I didn't watch the anime. I read the book, and that was good enough for me. But only do it on like the first arc. There's a main antagonist, even though you're not necessarily following a good guy. So let me just give the premise if you guys don't know what it is. You're following a death note, which is a book owned by a god of death. And there's many gods of death. And he gets bored one day and says, I'm just going to drop this down on Earth. And he drops it down there, and a young man picks it up, and he's very, very smart and noble, and everybody loves him. And he's the son of like the police chief, and realizes he can write the name of anybody he wants in this book, and they will die. And nobody will know how. They will just drop dead. And he can actually write how they die. He can write that there's a car that goes crashing through a building, and this person happened to be sitting in the chair. So like it looks like a total accident. And it's his fall from grace. It is this intelligent kid who wants to do good by killing serial killers and bad guys who aren't seeing justice. And he's like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to kill the bad guys that everybody wants dead. But then the police say, somebody's murdering these guys. We have to figure out how they're doing it. And so it becomes like a cat and mouse where he's trying to kill bad guys. And then he realizes good guys are coming after him. Well, now he's going to start killing good guys because he doesn't want to get caught. So it's really good. It's really, really smart. And it deserves a good adaptation. It deserves something more than the absolute crap we got. And it should be a series. It should be like a maybe 10 episode series, mini series, and end it the way that the Japanese live action movies did, instead of saying, oh, we're going to have one person live and go on, and then you have these really crap stories that happen afterwards.
And yeah, leave us.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, but it's worth reading. I absolutely recommend it. If you want one that'll keep you up at night going like, this is very intelligent writing, that'll be the one.
Yeah.
Nice.
What about you, Hog?
That's a good selection. I've got 15 here. 15.
Nice.
This is my shameless plug, because weekly in the comic reviews, I do concentrate a lot more on the independent comics than I do Marvel and DC anyway. And I've been doing that for months. And obviously this is my comic reviews is where it come from. So rather than go through them in detail, like what my favorite two comics of last year was Junkyard Joe. Now this is it starts in the Vietnam War, and the army creates a robot to fight anyway, it gets discontinued, but he befriends a little team, a little squad of Marines back in Vietnam. And then you leap forward, and the robot is still alive. Junkyard Joe is still alive, and he seeks out the last remaining member of the squad. And the mystery of what happened to the squad and what happened to him unravels in 6 issues. Six issues.
Nice.
With a mysterious bad guy, comes right up to date. There's a family involved because they know and what this guy, the guy who's remaining from the squad, he wrote comic stories after he came out of the war, out of the army, Marines, wherever it was. He wrote stories about Junkyard Joe, this little robot, this pretend story that met him in the Vietnam War. And he's the one he seeks out. But there's a family opposite where this writer lives that gets dragged into the intrigue, because obviously they're after Junkyard Joe, a mysterious government department gets up, and that's where your band comes in. That was one of my favourite comics of last year. It was absolutely superb. Beautiful artwork as well. You're obviously not getting it through the but
Just quickly,
absolutely beautiful artwork. That's just one.
just quickly, one of the ones that I spotted from your things, and I really want to get it, and I'm going to get it on order, was that Sergeant Rock versus the Army of the Dead.
Oh yeah,
That
written by what's his name from the Evil Dead? What's his name?
I don't know his name.
The actor,
Bruce Campbell.
Yeah, written by Bruce Campbell.
Oh really? Oh wow.
Sergeant Rock versus I must have it here.
Army of the Dead. No, it just looked cool from the reviews. It's something.
He was in Army of the Dead, wasn't he?
It's something I'm going to be getting. Put it that way, because it looks the little bits that you've shown are. Yeah, it looks very interesting.
Yeah, they are.
They're all.
Actually, got some old Sergeant Rock here as well. No one wants to see old Sergeant Rock, do they? That was the last from final issue.
Wow.
Zombie. And it's basically a story about towards the end of World War II, and Hitler's trying all these things, but basically they get a serum to resurrect all the dead soldiers. So they're not quite zombies, they're like mental, like rabid, like 28 days later zombies, but they've got a bit of a brain because they're still soldiers. So anyway, but they explain it all better than me, like a bit like that. Like the artwork is superb. I don't know if you can get artwork is superb on it, but anyway, yeah, that was good. That's another good but do you remember, who remembers when Sergeant Rock the original was going to be played by, was it Arnie? Arnie had his name down.
Really?
This must have been in the 90s.
Jesus.
Yeah, way back. Show me age there, Wicket, tonight.
I'm going to try and predict your next one.
Go on.
I hate Fairyland.
Yeah, I have got that here.
Oh, young.
Yeah, that is one mad.
Yeah.
A little girl gets sucked into Fairyland. She's making a wish on Earth, and she gets sucked into Fairyland, and it's all very nice. And it's set up that they give one little girl's wish every year.
Yeah.
So it's a regular thing. This particular little girl fucks it up. she doesn't get out. And 30 odd years later, she's still in Fairyland.
Nice.
But what she's doing now is she's going around taking it out on all the fairy creatures. And the cartoon style of the artist is superb. The writer artist on it, Scotty Young.
Yeah,
absolutely superb, spot on. Yeah, that's a funny, relatively new one, Hexware. About, I don't know if that's a good cover. Is it? Can anyone see that?
Yeah,
it just looks like a big colorful mess. Oh wait, I see a monster.
Yeah,
right.
Like werewolf kind of.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's an android. It's an android maid. How can I succinctly? It's an android maid that's serving this rich family in the future, and they're on the top deck of the city of society.
Okay.
And there's a terrorist bombing. There's a, like the Fireflies, so to speak, in this future society. They do a bombing, and the daughter of this family gets obliterated. But what this android finds out is that basically where it's called Hexware, she basically befriends this. She gets to know a friend of the girl that's died, who leads her to find out how to get her soul put into the android. So she is a combination of this quirky android and the girl that's died through some like evil machinations. I don't know if I explained that very well.
It's a schizophrenic android.
Basically, it's an android with
bipolar,
with the soul of this girl who dresses up like a sexy witch.
All right, there we go.
Okay.
So the last one, All Against All.
Good alien.
Beautiful sci-fi stuff.
What was the other one?
Set in the far, far-flung future, and they're mucking about with human DNA. They create a human, and it all goes wrong. And they can't believe how vicious this human is.
And they send him back in time, and he reviews Dismal Miners shows.
Semi-autobiographical.
Yeah.
Well, so Hog, if you say, for example, you get a call from a film company and they said, right, independent comics, you've reviewed them all. If you was to go with them with your 3 best ones to turn into live action,
I think the top one would be Junkyard Joe. That is a beautiful, like we was talking about earlier, about the heart of the film, or the heart of a story.
Yeah.
Junkyard Joe, when they released that as a graphic novel, it's only 6 issues, so it's not the biggest graphic novel. A really nicely told story, paced well. It starts out in the Vietnam War in the first issue, so you think, oh, where's this going? And then that's done. That's done, and then it's all in present day. And they've even got a really hardcore villain in it, who's the head of the department that's obviously got to track down Junkyard Joe, and he don't say a lot. It's the tip. This would be good for Dismal Minus because he don't talk. This robot doesn't talk, Junkyard Joe, where the technology wasn't there in the 60s, Vietnam. He's very, all he was designed to do was kill. But how the story unravels and the family that moves in next door to the writer of the comic strip and all that, really, really, really well done. I think that'd be my one choice, actually.
Nice.
Or any of those would make really good TV. I think I Hate Fairyland would make a good kind of
wacky,
like a Wednesday-esque sort of thing.
Okay.
Maybe, yeah, maybe. I'm trying to think of what that would fall into. I Hate Fairyland.
Well, did you ever watch Happy?
No,
because they made Happy.
Never.
You never watched Happy.
Never Happy.
That the first season was quite wacky and it was actually quite fun. Second season lost its way a little bit, but similar storylines.
Yeah.
Well, Hog, have you ever heard of a comic called Saga?
Yes.
What have you seen it? Read it? Anything?
Oh,
you got it.
He's got all 50 million copies.
No, it's ending. It's ending shortly. I think it's
Yeah.
I've got the first volume of the graphic novel somewhere.
Okay.
But yeah.
What do you think? I don't know what you think of it. What do you think of it? Because I haven't read it, and my sister's like, "Oh, you got to check it out, Amber. It's really good."
It is. Yeah, it is good. Yeah.
Okay.
It's a bit. It's
a bit odd. Good.
No, what is it? It's a bit. That's what it was. A bit soft for me.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. I'm not saying it's a bit. I'm not saying that it's immature or childish, but soft in the fact that they was concentrating on an alien. It's an alien and a kind of human that have a kid. It's an interesting story and it's done very, very well. And I did enjoy the first volume, but there's a reason why I haven't bothered getting the second volume.
Oh, okay.
And I think it's because there's a load of other more interesting stuff for me, just for me.
Okay.
Might be. What I do know,
I just saw the artwork and said, wow, that looks great. And my sister was super impressed with the story. So I was like, okay, I'll ask Hog.
Yeah.
She wanted me to ask you. My sister's like, to ask him about it.
I wouldn't be surprised if that turned up in if the film rights haven't been snapped up for that.
I just listened to somebody talk about what it's about, and I was like, this is the weirdest thing I've heard. Some of the characters sounded bizarre.
Kind of got these aliens with a TV head.
Yeah, TV head, yeah. Mr. Like the robot prince or something. I was like, what the hell?
Yeah, and it's all very decadent and set in and the central story of it with the couple and their baby fleeing the kind of, and again, like we've been mentioning about the diversity and racial hate and all those tropes that they put in it to a decent sci-fi story is good. And like I say, I think it's coming to its end, the 60th. I think it's like 60 odd issues.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Run.
I don't know if I'm willing to get that invested in that story.
No, but no, I don't mean 60.
Oh, they're little ones. Oh, okay, they're 60 little.
Issues.
Yeah. Okay.
My filing system isn't very.
That's okay. I was just wondering if you were familiar with it.
Are you saying your filing system isn't in alphabetical order?
No, I can't.
He's just forgotten how to spell saga.
Where all the shelves are different. What's it? I've got big, like I've got all the absolute editions that won't fit. I can't put all the Batman books together because I've got Absolute Hush and Absolute Long Halloween that are about that big. Then you've got normal graphic novels, but then that means you've got to do a big. It's getting
Right, let's start talking about interior design.
Yeah, you need a proper filing system there, man.
This is the strangest waffle so far. Watching it.
I had to find it.
All right.
Find it. That is your main premise. But
yeah,
it is interesting. Brian K. Vaughan is a good writer. He wrote the Why the Last Man. Forget the TV show that they done. Forget all that. Why the Last Man was very intriguing.
Yeah, I remember you talking about it.
Yeah, and same right. And Fiona Staples. It's a girl. Perhaps that's why I didn't. Only joking. Before anyone starts commenting, I can't have any more hate comments this week. After Mandalorian episode.
Hey, comments are comments.
And I know they're all Tayters. I know they're all his
his secret identities.
So many times.
He's creating YouTube accounts.
Oh, yeah.
So, I really like it. Anyway, I think we've waffled enough, didn't you guys?
Yeah. Well, just think next time we come on, we'll be able to talk about Star Wars Celebration.
Oh yeah, no,
slideshow. Bring your pictures. Do a slideshow, like PowerPoint. Remember how?
Yes,
we did it. Do that. I want to see that.
I think me and Tayters will do a special on that.
Oh,
we've got to do a special.
I'm looking forward to it.
Have some fun. That's if I don't get mugged.
Yeah, I would say you like,
there he is.
Yeah, you're either going to get beaten up or you're just going to walk in there and explode.
I'm just going to wear a stormtrooper helmet all the way.
No, Mandalorian helmet. This is the way.
My cosplay. Hang on, my cosplay.
I can borrow one of the old woman's bras and that. Put it under a shirt. That's another.
Tayters, are you cosplaying?
I am.
Okay,
on a budget though.
That's okay. How's it going? What are you going
on? Hang on 1 second. I'll show you.
Why did you ask? He's going to show off.
I love cosplay.
But it's going to be on a budget. It is on a budget, and it is Mandalorian.
All we can see is Tayters.
This is the way.
That is the way. Oh, that is fantastic.
You took it off. You took it off, Tayters.
It's bin jarring.
Oh no, you can go both ways. It's bin jarring. Oh,
that is the best thing I've ever seen. Oh man, I want every picture. I want all the pictures.
I'm not really doing that.
Oh,
no, you should. You've got to do it. You would get so many people coming up to you wanting pictures. Yeah. You've got to do it.
Bin jarring, love it.
I'm not joking. You got to do it. You will love it. You will love it.
And
then when you get tired of it, you can flip it upside down and use it to carry all your merch.
Oh yeah.
I was expecting you to go as Grogu, man.
I ain't got the ears for that.
He's big for that. I think I might get a little pouch and put a little bag of sand in it with plastic head.
That's it.
Just bring Wick with you on a lead.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Wicky, what do you reckon?
Are we done?
Right, I think on that note, bin jarring,
yeah.
Bin jarring, fantastic.
Always, thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's been a long one.
It has been a long one. My gosh.
That's what she said. Yeah.
Oh, that is time.
That's got to wrap it now. That's got to wrap it.
See
you later, everybody.
Bye.
Been fun.
Thank you.
Till next time.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Night.